Hello, and thank you so much for joining us for your Ring of Honor and TNA post show. I'm here with Righteous Reg. Not gonna lie, guys, I was talking to Reg before saying I'm feeling a little burnt out, and then he comes in here like all hyped with his like, let's talk about some wrestling fingers. I love it. So feeling tired, but we're talking about wrestling, right? What's gonna get me more energized, happier than that? We had some good stuff on Ring of Honor tonight. What was really cool was I was setting up this broadcast, and very organically, the two biggest things on both wrestling program, you could argue the three biggest thing on both wrestling programs, were women's wrestling related. Yeah. So that is just a cool way to spend a Thursday. And if there's anything you want to talk about, we invite you to get in your super chats. No Humper chat still tonight, but one thing we do have is you wonderful people leaving a thumbs up on this video. It helps people find us in the algorithm. And a quick reminder to subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. I don't know if you guys noticed, it's been a pretty hectic start to the year. So
some would say.
Lots going on. Lots coming down the pike, lots of contract news, 2 major pay-per-views on the horizon, right? We've got Elimination Chamber in Australia coming right up for you. Terrible Australian accent, but I'm here for it. And we got Revolution around the corner as well. So always a lot of news coming out of those. We got free agents starting in AEW soon. Really fun stuff happening right now in wrestling. TNA news. Oh my goodness, the TNA news. Ring of Honor news coming at you too. We heard about Kyle Fletcher on FightfulSelect.com this week. So head on over there and subscribe. You'll also get bonus episodes like Ask Grapsody. With this fella and Phil Lindsay. Mm-hmm. That's what's up. And you'll also get pay-per-view post shows with me and Alex Pulowski. And I'll tell you what we're not doing. And that's waking up at 4 a.m. for a thin Elimination Chamber card. So
why not, Kate?
Because I'm tired, Reg. I'm hurt. I'm old and I'm tired.
Come on.
And I do post show with a child and Alex Pulowski, who I love dearly. But we're going to let the main channel have to deal with that nonsense. And we're going to go on in mid-afternoon. We're going to sleep in. Yes. We're going to have a later in the day post show for you there. Really good stuff. And a pretty decent episode of Ring of Honor. It is still noticeable that we don't have champions around now. Eddie Kingston is a Triple Crown winner. We found out that Kyle Fletcher is having visa issues. The 6-man belts are being held hostage. The tag belts are being held hostage. This episode had a really great women's title defense with a really great story leading into it. And we do have a lot of high stakes matches with this tournament going on. So still feels like important stuff is happening, but I love this episode. It is catching up to me that we have a lack of titles around though a little bit. How did you feel about tonight's episode? Are you having the same trouble that I am with the lack of titles on the men's side? It's so funny to think that that's the complaint on the show. It was like, where's the men's wrestling at? But
I'm like, wait, you're talking about Ring of Honor here? That doesn't sound right. It's weird.
About American television? Yeah.
But yeah, it's a crazy place to get at, because I was thinking about that, Kate. Like, this show had 5 women's matches, I think. Like, we've had a couple of weeks where it's like women's wrestling. This is Women of Honor again. And it's like, man, this is a great place to exist at. But yeah, on the men's side, it's like, it feels a little bit directionless for a lot of guys. Like Ethan Page is trying to get this thing going with this other half he can't even be in a feud with because he can't get over here. So it's like, man, this is kind of frustrating. And then who even knows if we have a world title anymore? We got Super Card of Honor coming up. I'm like, are you guys going to announce matches for these belts, or what's going to happen in these next couple weeks? Because it's kind of bare on that side. But like I said, the women in this wrestling promotion, in this company, on this show, are holding it down. So things are okay. And like you said, Kate, the thing that made this episode good and makes a lot of the Ring of Honor episodes good the last couple of weeks is their stakes. Like, all the women's matches have stakes. The main event's big stakes. That's all we really want. Like, if you're going to give us a show where we don't have all the champions, as long as there's stakes, I'm in.
I agree. And on the AEW side of things, I feel like the product feels so renewed and so refreshed. But 2 minor nitpicks that I have are, you have enough titles on the main roster. You don't need to be borrowing multi-man titles from Ring of Honor. Like, you're getting a little New Japan. I know they were like, we're going to head toward the New Japan style. I don't think oversaturation of belts is something that you need. that feels kind of lazy, honestly. Like, you should be more creative with your storytelling than that. You shouldn't have to borrow ROH belts when you already have so many on the AEW main roster. So that is just one kind of minor complaint that I have with what's going on there. And after this week, I'm like, all right, let's ease up on the time limit draws. I like them, but let's spread them out a little bit. But nitpicking there, we're gonna talk all
It's
about
like when
here.
when you get obsessed with like some new food item, you like start eating a burrito. You're like, that burrito's good, and you have it 3 times in 1 week, and you're like, man, I just really like this burrito, and you keep eating this burrito. That's what these time limit draws are. It's like, it's a really good burrito. The first time the burrito hit hard, it's like, man, we all like burritos, but like, all right, we've had enough burritos, I think.
Yeah, I'll get that one in a couple months from now again. I do that all the time. I've got ADHD. Are you kidding? That's like that's my default mode. But lots of good women's wrestling on the show tonight. Matthew Hooks chiming in here saying, good episode. Women robbed too many names to feature consistently in AEW and ROH. Is there a better way to feature talent? I honestly feel like the talent rotation has gotten a lot better. Yeah. It's just the thing of people can't win all the time, but there is a thing of like, I was so excited when Lee Moriarty was signed. I was so excited when Blake Christian was signed. So I think it's the struggle of, you need a deep roster for injuries. You need a deep roster to feel fresh, but you just kind of can't feature everyone all the time. There's been some people that are feeling lost in the shuffle just overall, but one thing AEW is really good at, in my opinion, and that falls to the ROH umbrella now as well, is we want to heat a guy up, we'll heat a guy up. Like, they make people feel important really quickly. The rankings are back on the AEW side as well, so that certainly helps. Part of it is just Kyle Fletcher can't be there, and ROH Pure Championship is being held hostage by Wheeler Yuta's injury, and he had that after Shibata couldn't hold the title anymore. So some of it's just the name of the game, but I say every week, where is Josh Woods? Where is Stu Grayson? Like, I miss these guys. Do you feel like that? Are you itching to have some talent that's been pushed to the wayside get back in the fold here?
Yeah, see, this is the thing that that's kind of weird for me, is because we have Dynamite, Collision, Rampage, this Ring of Honor show to showcase talent, and I don't think that's being spread out enough still. Like, Queen Aminata is amazing. I love her. She's great. She could win this women's TV title, but why is she on every single show? Like, there shouldn't be one wrestler in anywhere that's on every single show, because you have so many talented people that it could be spread through. If Queen is on 2 shows out of the 4, then yeah, but if she's on 4, then that's a spot that somebody else could have. And I thought that with Punk's Collision and how we had the soft brand split, that things were working well, but now that it's kind of blown up and everybody's everywhere, I think that's what's being affected. It's like, we have all this time, but we're still dedicating it to the same people. Like, we're going to watch 2 FTR matches this weekend. They're going to both bang, but like, that spot could be for somebody else. And I don't know if they'll ever figure out how to completely do that while showcasing everybody with enough time. But I think right now it's being affected.
I think that's a good point. And part of it is, I feel like the last piece of restoring the feeling is that multi-man picture, right? So that's a really good way to be able to straighten out your talent problem, is literally more guys on screen is something that you have a problem with. Let's build this trios division so that FTR, Daniel Garcia are not like number 3 in the rankings, and Mark Briscoe and the Hardys are not a team in the trios rankings. I'd love to see some, exactly. Like, I would love to see GYV in there. I would love to see, there's a team called the Velocities who are incredible. They're based out of Australia, but they're really good. I would love to see teams like that around. But I do feel like problem and solution kind of line up here, of we have these multi-man pictures that need some love, and we also have people that aren't getting used. So let's get some stuff going with Shane Taylor Promotions or whatever. Like, let's find some pockets in there. I keep thinking Lance Archer and the Righteous. I'm like, how are they not on the AEW main roster in this trio division right now? But we'll get into some ROH and not some AEW/ROH stuff as we kick off our episode with Taya Valkyrie, of course, accompanied by Jonathan Morrison Television, I think is his full name, defeating Sussy Love, who looked great in this. Really, really liked, you said it last week, I felt like this was reiterated here. All the matches felt very different. Taya, her presentation is so incredible. Like, she's so much fun, but she wins here with the surfboard stomps for the pinfall victory. Really liked this as an opener. Loved what the promo that we got from Taya a little bit later too, talking about what a successful luchador specifically she's been. Really, really liked this as an opener, and just very nice to see a veteran talent and an independent talent getting featured here, and a match that makes the independent talent look good, but the independent talent serving their purpose and giving Taya a good looking win here to start the show. This is just kind of the wrestling 101 that we want to see. These are the fundamentals that we want to keep going back to, especially in the ROH environment that's so sports based. What were your thoughts on our opener here?
I thought this was a really good opener. Taya coming out and it's saying she's 5-0 in Ring of Honor. I'm like, oh wow, it's finally, we're at a point where Taya is being featured as Taya should be featured. Like, it's Taya. Why are you guys? I don't really understand. This one's not really a hard one. And her being on display like that, I think is great. Putting her in with the Mexican lucha star also, I think is great, because that's where she, came up to this to be as great as she is, and seeing some of that on display, seeing her speak some Spanish. I think all of that goes more into the presentation that Taya presents. But Love had a really good showing here too. I think that's what's been the best part of this tournament for me, is there's some unknown women on the tournament, but they're getting chance to shine. It's not all just squash matches. The people in the first round that we thought were going to win have won, but they've been in competitive matches that have made their opponents look great. And I thought this was one of those. Taya, is a dark horse in this tournament. Like I said, they're featuring her how she is. She's a multi-time world champion in different promotions. So she would represent this television title, I think, pretty well, especially along with what her husband Johnny TV is doing. Like, them as the television champions together or something can make some really good TV. So she's in here.
Agreed. It feels very much like we're setting up for a Queen Amanada win with how much additional screen time she's been getting promo-wise.
You're giving it up.
Which I don't love. Like, don't tip the hand that heavy to me. But Taya Valkyrie making a really compelling case with so many wins in a row. Her promo's really strong here. I don't know, and you have a better handle, I feel like, on the independent scene than I do, and maybe a little bit more of flipping and spinning world and CMLL and stuff. Do you know if Sussy Love came from the CMLL scene or where she is from? She's got a lucha background, but I just don't know from where.
Yeah, I didn't get into the specifics on where she came from, so I don't know off the head.
Okay, nor do I. I know this was a very hot topic last week in wrestling media, but I have been gonna keep scooting right by, but I have very, very, very peripheral knowledge of CMLL, but something that I do know is that Stephanie Vacure is awesome out of there, and Johnny Robbie, who's been injured but is fantastic coming out of there as well.
Could have been in this if she didn't get injured in this tournament.
Yeah, I really think so. Her versus a Mercedes Martinez or someone in this, I feel like, some really, really good stuff. But a lot of names in the lucha world to keep an eye on the women's side too. I think we've seen so much of Komander and Black Taurus and stuff. Like, it's cool to see the women also getting to dine out on that a little bit, which is nice to see.
Yep.
And you alluded to it too. We did get a promo here a little bit later from Taya, just kind of putting over the fact that she's 5-0 and that she knows the competition that's coming down the pike. So I think there's a lot of fun to be had there. But we do have some super chats about Taya specifically, which I'm very excited to chat about, with Jam Beard saying, haven't watched ROH yet tonight, but the final four should be Billie versus Abadon and Taya versus Velvet, with Taya beating Billie in the finals to be the first champ. Okay. I gotta assume that Queen Amanada is at least in the finals.
Yeah,
right? I think she's taking it, but that's a beautiful final four too. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of permutations here that are going to lead to anything like bad tournament wise. It just feels like after what we saw the past couple weeks, it's Queen Amanada's.
I don't want to say they're telegraphing it, but they're telling a story no one else is getting promo time, and they're like, here's an hour of Queen Amanada promos. And we're like, oh, okay.
And they're good, no complaints
they're
about
great.
It. But we see what you're doing over there. JB are following up saying, reason I want Taya to beat Billie is that it could also lead into Billie helping Castle against the TV family of Taya and Johnny, and getting a rematch against Taya. That is, I would love if there was a woman on the other side of things to kind of counteract that.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I think they want to probably keep, my just gut instinct is just from the way ROH seems to be functioning right now, is the tournament stuff will probably be kept aside from other storylines, particularly the silly ones. Because I think this is going to really be pivoting to Dalton and his voice.
Right.
It's going to be a heartbreaking one. But thank you for the chats and for the ideas. I love where your head's at. And I love that we are seeing Lee Johnson improve week over week over week. My goodness, are we seeing some great shit out of him? Win here over Sonico. He hit Sonico with a shot drop and wins via pinfall here. I am so impressed by how crisp and explosive his offense looks every week. He kind of felt like in the earlier days, of course, because he was younger and greener at this, a little bit more like he was still finding what the secret sauce for him in the ring was. He found it. He definitely found it. Like, he looks great out there. Makes me so happy to see. One of the most rewarding parts about doing this show in NXT is for those more up and coming talents, you get to see growth like this. And we've just seen a ton of it from Lee Johnson. Absolutely adore the growth that we've seen. And I'm wondering, like, they kind of flirted with this before, but now that we know Shane Taylor is signed, thanks to FightfulSelect.com, best $5 in the business, is it Lee Johnson's turn to join them finally in Shane Taylor Promotions? Your thoughts on the match? And because the only thing that we don't have for Lee Johnson right now is like a full trajectory, I feel like, and I think that could be a good one. What are your thoughts on this match, and also where should we be going with Lee Johnson?
I feel like a broken record at this point, Kate. Lee Johnson is incredible. Every time that he has another match, it's better than the last one. Coming off of his injury and taking some time off for his wedding, like, he came back better than ever. And I feel like with every Ring of Honor showing, it's like, oh, he's like carving a thing of his own, which I think is great. But he could also be in the Shane Taylor Promotions thing. There's a couple of ways for him to go. He's just much more confident. He's commanding in the ring. He has veteran instincts. He just feels like, oh, this guy gets it. And that's a really big step to take for a lot of wrestlers. Sonico looks really good in this too. Yes. He's a West Coast wrestler out here, does a lot of work in Vegas. I've seen him out here in the Bay. Tremendous talent. He was selling and had some really good offense, I think, in this match. Lee Johnson could be champion, one of these champions, if we ever have him here in Ring of Honor one day. The pure champion, I think if he focused down and got down with that, I think he'd be very, very good in that division. The TV title division, like whatever happens with Ethan Page and Kyle Fletcher, like Lee Johnson could be right there, one of the contenders for that. So I think he has a really high ceiling here, which is great. And this is the best part of Ring of Honor, is stories like Lee Johnson of he wasn't going to be able to cook on TV over there in AEW as often as he should be able to. So just coming over here and getting reps and just getting confidence and becoming a better wrestler has helped him so much. And when he does get the eventual, I'm on the AEW side, he's going to be way better than people remember him being. It's great for him.
Do you think it's a product of those like 2 random times that he was teaming with Action Andretti and Darius Martin? Do you think that is what unlocked something here?
I mean, that's what I was thinking. I didn't want to say it out loud.
No,
like, he joined the Light Skin Coalition, and then they shot him up with that light skin stuff. Action Andretti shot the water really quick, and then like since then, like I don't know, man. It's been all the way up for him. But no, Lee Johnson has, like I said, a really high ceiling, and I'm excited to see what he does this year. This is like, there's some Ring of Honor stories throughout history, and like he fits that mold. So it's kind of fitting that he's here in this promotion.
I love your thoughts about the pure division. I think that's a really fun call. And I agree with you. Just the growth from the Nightmare Factory to where he is now has been immense. And this isn't something that would fit on AEW television. Like, this is a really good use of Ring of Honor. I was, believe it or not, actually joking about Darius and Action Andretti, but it did make me think how far the booking has come in that respect. Because it used to just be like, here you are, here you are, here you are.
We haven't had that in a long time, where it's just like, here's 2 random things thrown together. So kudos to the Ring of Honor booking people.
Some of that's still with the luchadors, which we'll get to.
I mean, that's another story for another day.
Here's a 4-pack of luchadors with no stakes, but it's fun. Like, is still.
Well, that's for me, Kate. They have to have one little nugget for me. So
here's a 4-pack of luchadors for Reg.
Yes.
With no stakes additional. So that's sweet, actually. You know what? I take it back. I think that's really cute. I think it's adorable that they booked that just for you. Thanks to Chris Hero or whoever the hell's booking it. Appreciate it.
Love you
But
guys.
I also, yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'm still waiting for my pure matches over here, but whatever.
Yeah,
no,
they just
fine.
keep sweeping your thing to the side. They're like, oh, the pure, oh, no, we'll think about that later.
That fucking technical nerd over there. We don't care about her. Oh, cool. Oh, a heel hook? Awesome. Oh, wow. A Cobra Twist. Never saw that before. Maybe an arm bar. Yeah, I get it.
Wait, this one cuts deep, huh? This is real.
This is real. You got flipping and spinning, and they're like, she's got rest holds and submissions. She's boring.
Nobody wants this. People want this, you guys. We're joking here. We want the pure division.
And we got some great lady techers last week, so I can't even explain because there was some fire stuff that was happening with Layla Hirsch. But we also got some fire stuff with Red Velvet and Sandra Moone tonight. Oh, yes. Red Velvet and Sandra Moone had a great match. She hits the mix it up for the pinfall here. Really, really, really liked this. Felt very different than that first match, as we were alluding to. I can't say enough about Red Velvet's return post-injury. Like, there are some people that come back with ring rust and have to shake it off. There are some people that come back and they've regressed a little bit. She seems like she took a huge leap forward, not only in the in-ring, which seems more controlled and focused and real, but her presence too. I think because she's not like assistant baddie number 2 or whatever.
Yes.
I loved the baddies, but the individuality didn't pop out as much. Her presence has really grown. Her attitude is there in a different way. It's almost like more of a maturity, but like a ring maturity, like a wrestling maturity in this. And I feel like that showed up a lot today. Sandra Moone also looked great in this. Really, really happy with what we're getting out of this women's tournament. Really happy we're getting a secondary title because this women's division is great and they need the room. We always get these matches, so having something extra to fight for, good stuff and a great match here. Red, what did you think?
Yeah, a Red Velvet gives me the same vibes that Lee Johnson gives me. It's pretty much the same exact story. And it's funny because they kind of have the same trajectory of like Nightmare Factory stuff, getting hurt, but they both came back tremendous. Like you said, Red Velvet came back better than she was when she was here previously. When she gets back up there, well, she's been back up there and people have seen how amazing she is, but something extra has been even added with this tournament where she's like, I'm winning this belt. I don't care what you guys think that the determining factors are. I don't care who you think's going to win. I'm going to show you why I should be the champion. And every showing she's had in this tournament has been like, I'm like, yo, Red Velvet is insane. But Sandra Moone, I'm such a huge Sandra Moone fan. She's a stalwart out here in West Coast Pro. She's in the Vegas scene. She's been seen a couple times on Ring of Honor and AEW television. She is just so good on both sides of the ball. It's like, she really gives me young Bailey vibes of she has so much heart and potential and you want to see her win, but then she also has this like aggressive side and just like she'll beat your ass side. But just like her personality, it's hard to hate her. And when you meet her, she's just such a really nice and humble person. So it's good to see her in this. But beyond that, she was just the dog out there trying to get a win over Red Velvet. She's like, I know Red Velvet's on this trajectory, but I will beat her out here. But Red Velvet's not letting anybody beat her. Red Velvet and Queen Aminata's face showdown that I want to see needs to happen. Like, I'm just so excited, like you said, about this division because everyone is hitting on 100%. Everybody's like, we are fighting for this division and we're going to make sure that you know that we're going to have this belt and it's not just going to be some secondary blah, blah, blah belt. This is going to be the workhorse belt, which sounds insane because the other champion is the queen of workhorses.
46-0 at this
like,
point.
how do you make another workhorse belt when the champion's already a workhorse? Yeah.
I think what that might do is allow Athena some flexibility, quite honestly, to defend less frequently or to go up to the main roster and ping pong back and forth. I'm hoping, because she has been working her tail off. This is the first time she's taken any sort of break, and it was only 2 weeks. She's on that Jon Moxley grind over here. She just not taking any time off. I'll reiterate, I think it's so special that she won Women's In-Ring Performer of the Year from the ROH spot. like for the Fightful Awards. I just think that's so special because
She's
is
ridiculously good. I hate it.
Yeah, and it's just like the least exposed brand, right? But people thought about the pay-per-view matches with her and Willow and the street fight with Kiera Hogan and things like that. So but I am excited for this title. And the other thing with Red Velvet too, I remember shortly before she got injured, I think it was against Chris Statlander, which would make sense because they were probably setting up Jade and Stat. But she said something, she was in a promo and she, in a very like more modernized way, basically said like, yeah, I want to win this match because I want more money. I'm headed to the pay window kind of thing. And I was like, she's really started to get the like, I need my end motivation to be delivered clearly in a way that fits who I am as a character. And I just love it. I love that we got to see it. Champ saying, side note, huge shout out to Matt Coon.
I LOL'd hard. Shout out to Matt Coon.
I passed out from laughter. Matt Coon, I didn't know that Val Venus was actually a trans ally until today. Val Venus.
It was a surprise to me for sure.
It was. If you go to valvenus.com right now, it will forward you to a place to make a donation for transgender rights.
Yep.
Matt Coon might have purchased the domain. The fact that it was available had me in stitches. And it is like the NWO for life. That will forever be the case. So feel free to go to valvenus.com and make a donation to trans rights because that's a thing you can do.
How is someone so dumb protective over their brand? How do you not have this website? If all you ever doing is, why is my name on why? But why? How do you not have this website then, you dumb idiot?
I almost did this, and I still might, but I wanted to do like a link in bio thing with the gray squares in between and just put Val Venus's website in my bio. That popped me tremendously.
Coon.
Shout out to Matt Coon for that. We also got a chat from Feeling Dreepy who said today's show was great, but no Dalton Castle, 0 stars.
Oh no!
I will say that stood out to me too because we had no champions and no Dalton, which just feels like that's just a recipe for disaster. But it was a decent enough episode somehow. But bring us our Dalton. He emotionally though is forlorn right now because he has to choose between his boys and this match. But really good women's action continues here, but not before we get Danhausen versus Brandon Cutler with Colt Cabana at the ringside. Love seeing Danhausen here.
I erased this match out of my memory if I'm going to be completely honest. I was like, this happened today?
I don't need
it at all. None of it.
I'll take the Danhausen part.
No, Danhausen is over. I'm totally trolling. People liked him being out there. He
fills Brandon Cutler's mouth with teeth and then super kicks him for the victory here. I don't like I said about Serpentico last week. And I feel like instead of him wrestling under 3 different aliases, we could have like some fresher talent in there. I said Cheeseburgers, your LSGs, your Eli Isoms, like people from that part.
Oh, you did this, Kate. That's where you're leading to? You did this.
No, I didn't say Brandon Cutler should be one of those.
No, you did this. They said you heard you wanted more talent. They're like, Cutler, they're calling for you.
That was not one of the talent that I named, okay? Not one of the talent that I named.
No, shout out to Cutler. I'm a big fan.
This gimmick is not for me so much. He's kind of like Jake Hager, where I'm like, I could think of things I'd rather see on my screen than this. That's how I'll say that. Like that's
how I felt last time. Like I love Jake Hager, like no disrespect, but when he came out, I was like, who cares about this? Like, no, you know what I mean? Like just the fans in Oklahoma, yeah, but like who else though?
Even the fans in Oklahoma were like, oh yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like no disrespect to him, but it's just like there's some people back there that I want to do a run in that I want to see on TV, and I understand though, because like I said, Danhausen came out today and he was over. People liked it, but like,
sure,
what we're in this intense women's tournament. We got this incredible main event. Like, I know there needs to be variety, there needs to be stuff, but I don't know if this needs to be the variety. And for the fans in attendance, like, what are you guys doing to me? Is what I'm thinking if I'm them.
Well, if you think about the way it tapes, you're probably not thinking it because it's before and after. So this feels probably like a fun thing after you're fatigued from Dynamite or something that's fun to warm you up with. So that part, I think, might be. And this was a very short match.
Yeah.
But I don't know anybody who was like, oh, sick. Brandon Cutler and Danhausen tonight. Like,
oh, sick.
Oh, dope.
Somebody's like, this is my match of the night. I would like if somebody if that was somebody's match of the night, I would like to know who it was. So if it was yours, please send me a DM and say that match hit for me because I have questions.
That was the one. Give me Danhausen versus Willie Mack. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
Like that's where I'm at. But very short, very quick, very nice, very evil. Danhausen versus Brandon Cutler. I think he's great as a stooge for the Young Bucks, and that I think is good. That's my preference. So we'll move on to Abadon versus Viva, who looked amazing in this as well. This was fun. Not the longest match in the world either here, but Abadon winning the black Dahlia on Miss Viva to win. They looked good. They've been getting a sustained push, which makes me very happy because Abadon was like, here's Halloween. Whoop, there you go. And they go back into their Halloween box for a little bit. And they've also put in a ton of work, right? They like the conditioning has improved so much and the look is great and the character is more certain and the in-ring is stronger. So I'm really happy for them. And putting them in this tournament is really cool. It reminds me of when they had that women's tournament before ROH shut down. They had Max the Impaler in there, and it was like, oh, this is cool because it's a women's tournament, but you have Max, who's not gendered at all, really, like just a force to be reckoned with. That's kind of cool with Abadon because they're the living dead girl, but they also go by they, and they're also a spooky little monster. So it's a fun dynamic to have thrown into all of this. I don't think they're going to win this tournament, but I think it's awesome that they're included. And a good little match here. No complaints about this. I'm a little less familiar with Viva than some of the other independent talent that we saw, but they looked awesome in this too. She looked great. So your thoughts on this match and the inclusion of Abadon, because we haven't actually talked about Abadon that much about in the tournament wise.
Yeah, I think that Abadon represents a really good piece of this tournament puzzle because you need to have like, we don't think Abadon's going to win, but like a monster for somebody to overcome, and Abadon's that monster to overcome. I love that they haven't leaned completely into the spooky stuff because back in the day, there'd be like some blood or some black stuff coming out of their mouth or some
lightning
stuff like that.
Somewhere or whatever.
Some other type things. Like, I think it should be there. Like, it should be represented on with Abadon wherever they are, but I'm glad that for the tournament, it's just like, no, I'm here to rip someone's face off. And that's what kind of it felt like with this Viva match of like, Viva had some good showing in here, did some spots to make you guys remember who she is. But Abadon's just like, I'm here again to rip your face off. And I love that finish of it's like a leg DDT type thing.
Yes,
really
very cool.
It hit really hard in this match too. But yeah, I think that the spot that Abadon's in and how they introduced them to the show of the women that were in the ring and just like, what's Abadon doing here? And that's kind of what it feels like of like, what's Abadon doing here? And also like, oh no, Abadon might rip my face off. Like, this could be my last days. Just that added little element of like, I know kind of the backgrounds and everything of all the other wrestlers, but Abadon's this kind of mystery that could kill us. And I think it's really great for this tournament. This was a really fun match. Another kind of different one. Wasn't super long, but a different element and added to the variety that these matches have been providing.
Agreed. A fun way. It's hard to make tournament matches feel distinct from one another when you have 4 of them on the same episode. Never mind 8 of them over 2 weeks or whatever we've been getting. So kudos to them for that. And yeah, you throw someone spooky in there. Good way to make it feel distinct. So some good stuff. Happy for Viva. Really love that we're getting established talent and some established on the indies talent. Like, that's very cool. So very good stuff there. We move along to Ethan Page and Anthony Henry. It was reported on Fightful Select that Ethan Page was working toward a program with Kyle Fletcher, but as we alluded to earlier, the visa issues held him up a little bit. So that program getting delayed, but Ethan Page can do a promo about just about anything. So he's saying that Kyle Fletcher is ducking him. He can't be around, alluding to his record of being 12-2, talking about what a role he's on. I love the clarity that we have with Ethan Page and this tournament. Like, I love him calling out the title that he's going for, saying that Kyle Fletcher isn't here because he's scared he's going to lose, talking about how he's felt like he has been on this tear, and by the time Kyle Fletcher fully comes back, he's going to have just grown more and more and more and more. Like, what a way to put urgency around someone's return that in real life is having visa issues. Because who knows when Kyle Fletcher is going to be back. But Ethan Page is like, until you are, I'm just going to keep getting better. Absolutely loved that promo. And the match was really great too. You know how I feel about Anthony Henry. I just love him. I love the look. I love the strength that we get from him. But that cutter variation from Ethan Page on this, I really liked as a finisher, especially with someone of Anthony Henry's strength and size, like using the cutter instead of the ego's edge to put people away or whatever. I appreciated that because it felt a little bit more opportunistic, but still in the face realm of things. I like it when faces work smart. They don't have to look like idiots in the process. So I appreciate that. But good stuff out of Ethan Page here. What did you think of our match and the promo?
A lot of good stuff to like in the match, of course. Anthony Henry, God, so good. He's just so
good.
I love wrestlers that's just like ring the bell. Two guys in the ring are punching each other, kicking each other, just trying to beat each other up. That's Anthony Henry. That's him. Anthony Henry is scrappy to do. He wants to fight. Scrappy do. He wants to fight every time anytime's going on. But I just love his energy in the ring, the way that he's full force. He's gonna kick all your limbs. He's trying to destroy you. But Ethan Page is just a he's a star. He's the star of the show, and he's trying to. I love that he's the most transparent wrestler in Ring of Honor. Like, he's gonna let you know exactly what he's here, why he's here, what he's gonna do, and what he wants out of this. And if you ask him a question, he's gonna answer it, and he's gonna make sure you know everything that you need to know about Ethan Page. And that's when he's a heel or a baby face. That's what's really great about Ethan Page, and I think why he has such the following that he does. Just because I think he's a transparent human and it carries over to his character. But this match was just as fun as you could get. Anthony Henry, I love the workhorsemen so much. So when I see their Titantron, or what do you call it? When I see their little Tron, I'm like, but what about the workhorsemen, man? They're badass. But then you see him one-on-one and you're like, all right, I understand. There's these things. But yeah, I think really fun match. I love that Ethan's like, I want that championship. Kyle Fletcher's ducking me. This isn't a visa issue. He just made that up because he doesn't want to wrestle me. But yeah, just kind of showing his intentions, saying that I'm going to be the champion and that guy better quit ducking me. And I think it might happen at Supercard of Honor. So this is all really good. I thought that Ethan Page is doing exactly what he needs to be doing in this position. There was a super chat in here. DDT 420 said, what I kind of want to get your thoughts on it, Kate. There's not really, DDT 420 says needs a big male star, specifically speaking on Ring of Honor. We don't really have like a face of Ring of Honor, a male face. Like Ring of Athena is, of course, the MVP. Like, this is her brand, like you talked about. She was the Women's Wrestler of the Year off of this brand, but there isn't like a male star that like represents the Ring of Honor brand. One, do you think Ethan Page could get into being champions. That? Yeah, I understand. It's crazy. Like,
have champions around. So.
Can Ethan Page be that guy, or do you think there is somebody that's on the roster that could be that person?
So one thing that I love about Ring of Honor, or historically have loved about Ring of Honor, is the guy is just always, to me, felt like your guy. Because when we had the divisions of the clarity of I'm challenging for the pure title, so I'm in the pure division, like that time, I felt like it could be your world champion, it could be your TV champion, it could be your pure champion, it could be whoever. Like, for a long time, Jonathan Gresham was my guy because I'm a technical nerd. it should be somebody who has a belt, and especially in the presentation of ROH, that guy should be belted. But I think because I loved the pure division, and it never felt like the TV title was ever less than. I love that all of the titles felt important. The world title should feel the most important, but I always felt like there were multiple faces. Like for some people, it's just Dalton Castle. Whatever Dalton Castle's doing, that's for some people. So I miss that. And it's someone that changed consistently for me. But I do agree that nobody has that right now because none of our champions are around. I mean, none of our champions on the male side.
What a hell of a point, Kate. Look at you. You were just like, you hit it right out of the park. Legit. That's what, back in the day when Ring of Honor was at its prime, when Bryan Danielson was the world champion and Nigel McGuinness was the pure champion and the Briscoes were the tag champions, it's like there were some people that Bryan Danielson was everything. There were some people that hated Bryan Danielson and loved Nigel McGuinness. Funny enough, there were some people that only because of clam digging. There were some people that only watched they loved Ring of Honor because of the Briscoes. It's all like whoever your person is, that's the guy. And I think that kind of they made it in a way that the brand kind of represents the Ring of Honor is Ring of Honor, ROH, those letters, and like whoever's kind of standing and defending them is the guy, and it's always kind of been that way. But yeah, I think we're all kind of leading to there is no one guy here in the company right now. And with what Kate is saying and kind of how the point is, who knows if there ever will, because that's never really been the mission statement of the company.
But to the point of that chat, there's also, it doesn't feel like three guys either. It feels
also,
like there's no
that's the thing, yeah.
Right? So I think Ethan Page is becoming one of them. I think Dalton Castle will just realistically always be one of them as long as he's working. Right. But I feel like that's really special. When you're just full on rooting for a promotion, like when AEW is on a hot streak, there's not usually the guy for me there either. And in times where WWE is killing it, it's not that way either. But
like,
ROH
it's not really that way in
anything.
AEW right now. Like there's a bunch of guys. Like you could like Samoa Joe, you could like Swerve, you could like American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, like you could like, you know what I mean? There's so many people you could go through.
Sure. And there's more arriving, right? So that's part of the fun of it all. I think Kyle Fletcher probably is ducking Ethan Page because
I think that's
I don't know if you saw this on social media, but he lost his title to his dog Bodie. Did you see that?
Wow.
And I think Kyle Fletcher's confidence is shaken, and he was like, "Oh no, I have visa issues." But what happened was he lost his title to Bodie, and he got it back, but by the skin of his teeth, I'm told. So I'm saying
he is trying to leave the company and he wants to be at Elimination Chamber this weekend because it's in Australia.
Oh my God, that's why Bronson Reed isn't there. They were like, we're going to have Kyle Fletcher debut. That's probably what it is.
That's exactly what's happening. Report it. Can't even say that as a joke.
But I can't.
I know, exactly. Can't even be a joke because people are going to be like, no, they said it on an official podcast.
No, we'll get clipped and thrown all over the internet.
Kyle Fletcher's not gonna go to Elimination Chamber. That's ridiculous.
Maybe as a fan. I mean, that rules. He should. If he's got
wrestlers
friends
have wrestlers friends, of course. You know,
it is true. Believe it or not, it's not the Jets and the Sharks that we've all made it out to be online. Well, we alluded to it before. Queen Aminata is great at video packages, and she gets more than anybody else that is not the Women's World Champion. She's backstage here and says that Taya Valkyrie isn't the same person she respected when she was getting into this great sport over here. Aminata says that she wants Loco Taya and that Taya hangs around with Johnny TV all day. And what I loved about this is almost like how on the main roster we have Deonna pulling Toni Storm out of the crazy back into being a professional wrestler. This kind of felt a little bit like that of like, hey, you want to quit joking around and be in this tournament and be a wrestler. And I liked that. I liked that she was like, knock it off with the silliness. Queen is here. I'm going to put you in the ground during this tournament. Let's fight about it. I like it. Good stuff here from Queen Aminata. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought this was a really good promo. And anytime a wrestler is like, I want you to be at your best so I can beat the best. Like, cut out the shenanigans, bring the Taya we know that's a world champion that was feared. So when I beat you, they could say you beat the best Taya. That's just like always the easiest and best story to tell. Amanada getting all this TV time, all this promo time, I think is awesome though. I thought this promo was really good. She called out Taya, made her intentions very aware and executed. So this was a good promo segment.
I agree. The wonderful Auntie Collins, who's always so supportive of us, also launching a show on our sister channel, Fightful Overbooked, with a back returning Kylie. She's got the CM Punk momentum behind her. She's going to make a huge return.
Awesome.
It says, give me old La Wera Loca and ROH. It's kind of felt like, not in the way that Jericho was kind of doing it, but like almost like we're getting a greatest hits thing, because in Lucha Underground, we saw Taya Valkyrie and Johnny TV. This is pulling out a different side of Taya too. I kind of like that they're navigating through her history a little bit to play on some of these things. Like it makes the stories a little bit richer. Jam Beard also said this a little bit earlier. Sorry, I missed it, but I need Evil's serious version of Danhausen. AEW, ROH, make it happen. I would love a Danhausen heel turn. I think that would be a really fun way to go about business, because we are fully aware of what he's capable of doing as a funny guy. I would love to see if there's something a little bit more serious in there. I'm all for that idea. Any thoughts on that?
I thought that's where we were leading to when he was doing those videos, kind of coming back into the fold. And he was like, it seemed like it was a little bit darker, but then he just came back kind of doing the same thing. I like that, and I think that would probably add an extra element to his character and give him a little bit more meat on his bones. But he honestly, it seems like he's done this a lot in AEW, but he hasn't really got to fully be, because anytime he's gotten like in that mode, he's gotten injured or something happens. So I don't think it's that crazy that he's still doing the old curse you Danhausen stuff, because like I said, it was still over.
It is. It absolutely is still over. And it's interesting, because I thought that was the direction they were going to, but today he was clearly the face against Brandon Cutler. So that was a thing. But we move on to Billie Starkz and Robyn Renegade, and what was another fun match. Man, Billie just doing such a killer job of knowing when to lean into the more vicious side of herself, knowing when to lead into the more jovial side of herself. And she locks up Robyn Renegade in a hammerlock neck vice for the win. Love a submission win from Billie Starkz here. Love the intensity and the violence that we're getting out of her as she has a vengeance here. We get a nice promo, and she's not okay with the fact that she lost to Athena still. So I think it's interesting, because that story is still lingering in the background. Like they're on good terms, but this loss is clearly still affecting her. Kind of moved away from the silly stuff with Lexi Nair from it. And it's adding a layer to Billie Starkz that I think is a healthy layer to grab as a character, because she's just so damn likable. She's so easy to get behind. She's so fun. She's a phenom in the ring. So what else? What can we dig into more? She's giving it to us here. This was good. Nice to see Robyn Renegade in there. If you are in a tag team, you should lose in a tournament. So I'm glad that they complied with the booking. This was an obvious result, but a good enough match. Glad to see Robyn getting a rep in here. Hope we get tag belts for both brands, either brand, all the brands. Rocky Romero's there. There should just be one set of women's world title belts, tag belts, that just travel everywhere Rocky goes, which is pretty much everywhere. So that's my focus. But really good stuff here. Your thoughts on this? And do you think Billie is a finalist in this? Where are we going with Billie Starkz in this?
It seems like that is the story they might tell, but her still being kind of hung up on the Athena thing is like, I don't know, maybe they could take her out in a different way. But I think if they want to tell the story of her eventually beating Athena, which I think they could potentially be leading into as Supercard of Honor, if she gets to the finals and she loses, and then that's kind of the catalyst to her somehow getting back to Athena. But I think with her confidence, she got new ring gear. She has everything looks new on Billie Starkz. Like if she won, it wouldn't be that surprising, because the story that they told with Athena, they kind of set us up for this. But in this match, she just looks So she looks better in every match, like Lee Johnson too. I think you could just tell she's consistently working on her craft, trying to improve, be a better wrestler, and want to lead this little new women's TV title division. Robyn Renegade is, every time she has a showing, she's so good on the defensive side, but she's also really good at just kind of commanding and getting people to boo her, getting people to get behind the baby face. Plays her role really well, and both the Renegade do in that aspect. So I thought this was a great match. This was a kind of like, we knew the result like when we saw the brackets for this, so not really a surprising result. But yeah, I think Billie Starkz potentially could be a finalist with the story that they're telling.
Yeah, this is going in an interesting direction, and I'm for it if it's going where it looks like it's leaning to go. That's a really good point about Robyn Renegade and both of the Renegades. Your job as a heel is to get a reaction like that, right? No matter how you do it. So they're doing that. That's something that I feel like QT Marshall was underrated for. Like, I don't feel like he needed a consistent roster spot. I think he was used pretty well when he was on screen, but he would get that reaction. Like, whatever environment he was in, he would go and get that reaction. So I am all for the Renegades continuing to do their job very well.
Right.
Well, it's time for the Reg match of the night. Komander defeating Exodus Prime, AR Fox, and Matt Sydal in a 4-corner survival match. Really loving that survival match stipulation of late. Few things just don't work out. We're in a much healthier place as a product. But some things, like every episode now has a survival match. It's like they remembered they existed. And then they were like, well, let's just do it all the time. It's like my time limit draws on AEW right now. But Komander hitting Exodus Prime with that, I mean, just insane running shooting star press from the top rope. Loved commentary on this because Caprice like kind of made Ian Riccaboni pause and was like, let's just break down what that move is and analyze the fact that every piece of it is impressive. Like the walking the rope part, the shooting star press part. Like he was like, let's dissect what this guy actually does to win a match because it's all of it is super impressive. Loved Caprice doing that. I forget what the jaw jocking was, but somebody had said to Matt Sydal like that he's gonna slap his third eye off of his head or something. There was something really cute in there. I forget what the exact line was, but Komander is starting to pick up a lot of wins, so I hope our Reg matches of the night, our 4-packs, lead to something here, and they're not just like, hey, sometimes he defends the AAA belt. It would be good if this led to a title shot of some sort, or something with some stakes in it, or something with some story in it. But it does seem like he's kind of pulling away from the pack in this regard. Nice to see AR Fox getting some more reps too. He was present and then disappeared for a little bit, but no complaints about the match at all. This was super, super fun. I'm just kind of like, okay, but why? A little bit. But that's okay, because most of the show had stakes, so I could take a superfluous match or two every now and then. Reg, but like, why am I even talking? This is the Reg match of the night. This is your wheelhouse. This is flipping and spinning, Reg. What you got for me?
I needed a palate cleanse in this match and this show, and I think this was it. Like,
Norma saying, Reg, a little spot poo for me and you, which I appreciate.
They did it for us, Meet Normas. They showed us exactly what needed to be done, especially before what the main event was. A lot of guys in this that I'm a big fan of. Komander, of course, one of the best luchadors in the world. He showed exactly why, doing his wild finish here. AR Fox, I need to see on every TV show. I know I said every wrestler shouldn't be on every TV show, but I lied because I want AR Fox to be on every TV show because he is the coolest. But yeah, I'm such a big fan of AR Fox, and just matches like this show why he's so dynamic in every little spot, every little thing that he does. He commands the show, he commands the ring, he commands the TV, commands everything. He's just such talented wrestler. And I love Exodus Prime being able to get in here with 3 established guys, but he got some offense in where it looked like he was a viable contender. And Matt Sydal's a legend, especially in Ring of Honor, so it was fitting that he was in this. These 4-corner matches, they were doing them with the women for a while. It felt a couple weeks, and now they brought him over to the men. So it's like, I mean, I know you want to just get him on TV, so that was not super egregious. But yeah, again, Komander with the victory. Him and Vikingo came on for like a year and didn't get any victories, and now they're starting to earn them, and it's exciting, especially considering the stuff we've been hearing with CMLL. It's all very interesting.
It is very interesting. Whichever thing you try and listen to, all of it's
Right?
pretty interesting, but my goodness. You know what? I'm glad that you talked about AR Fox and Matt Sydal in this too, because Matt Sydal is so good at making sense in matches that can get very chaotic.
Yeah,
where like he's capable of the high flying stuff. Obviously, he is. He's a little bit of, not to steal from Seth Rollins, but like a little bit of an architect in there and somebody who can make things make sense. And I think so much of that is because he was high flyer guy, and then as he aged a little bit, he got more grounded with stuff. Yeah. And so he knows how to play in both worlds extremely well. This is going to shock you, but I got asked about Zack Sabre Jr.'s title reign recently. No, and they said, what were your favorite matches from it? I know, shocking, right? That I'd be talking about ZSJ and technical wrestling. But I said one of the most underrated ones of that reign was his defense against AR Fox, because AR Fox did some really, really innovative stuff in there. And technical wrestling to me is almost like only as good as your counters. And to see the agility of some of the stuff that AR Fox was doing, some of the apron spots were just nuts. Wow. So I told them to go check that one out, and they did. And they came back to me and was like, yo, that finish ruled and that match was awesome. I was like, good, I'm glad. But seeing AR Fox and this environment is awesome, but like I'd never forget how versatile he is when he's facing other opponents too. So seeing him get back in the fold here made me very, very happy. Me Norma saying, thanks to TK and Bill Birmingham for March Meat Madness. If you will it is no dream. I'm back to doing the Prince Nana dance till my shoulders hurt. Man, was I howling when we got Meat Madness. After finally a breakout promo, I felt like from Wardlow, everything he said made sense. It was serious. There was fire. There was intensity. And then commentary's all, he's got to be a Meat Madness. I was like, what? Hold the phone. I immediately thought of Cresta, who's going to be on here with Joel in a minute to bring you your TNA post show. But she's calling for, I remember when I went to World's End with her, she was like, I want to ask Tony Khan about a meat division. I was like, oh, cool. Like a super heavyweight division. And she was like, no, a meat division. I was like, all right, I like it. I like it. You know what? Call it a meat division. Yeah. But I'm excited for, listen, vegans can still get into meat matches. Okay. That's exactly. That's not a byproduct of animal suffering. That's a byproduct of big meaty men slapping meat. So we'll take it out there. But man, oh man, was there no doubt about what the match of the night was for me tonight. Athena and Nyla Rose, 2 out of 3 falls at tables match. This I liked because it was a very unique stipulation as well. And I feel like a lot of Nyla's best matches are tables matches / matches where the pacing is something that is working in her favor and lets her lean into what makes her so special and unique. These ones that are a little slower plotting, allow her to tell stories with her facial expressions and her mannerisms, showcase her strength, be the beast that we know she can be. This match was a great example of that. And I don't know if you know this, Reg, but Athena's not exactly a slouch either. I'll run down the pinfalls for you real quick. The first one went to Nyla, who power bombs Athena through a table. Fall number 2, which I think might have been my favorite, was Athena hitting that O-face on Nyla Rose while Rose is just standing on the ring apron. And man, the visual of her crashing down through the table was so awesome. And then pinfall number 3 had a little bit more desperation behind it, but still a ton of command. But Athena was like, she had a moment to capitalize on it, and she did, dropping Nyla Rose with that electric chair drop through the table at ringside, retains the title. Maybe the best match I've seen from Nyla. Definitely the best one in quite some time. Really, really loved what we got out of this from these 2 women tonight. The story going into it was so strong. I'm glad Nyla could even find the tables, considering they weren't labeled like table or whatever, you know. After we saw her outfit last week, I was expecting it to be like table leg, ring, canvas. But I loved this match. This is definitely worth going to check out on Honor Club if you catch our shows, but don't check out full episodes or whatever. Seek out this match. I think it might be the best I've seen Nyla maybe ever. Definitely recently, though. This was fantastic, fantastic stuff. They had the time, they had the breathing room, they had the story, they had it all going into this. Only complaint about it is you kind of knew who was going to win. I don't think you're going to have Athena drop her title on regular TV here, but The story that they told was awesome, and it was kind of cool because we haven't seen an underdog Athena before, but she did not have the advantage in this match. So some good stuff. We also had a video package hyping this up earlier in the show. Just really, really good stuff. I love the solid women's programming. And I also love that we got a story for Athena that wasn't squash dominant, squash dominant, squash dominant. Good shit here. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, there was a lot of elements that I liked in this. Great main event, great way to have some different table spots, because I've seen so many table spots over the years. It's like, what can they really do? And then when they started with the power bomb, it's like it worked because I love power bomb. It's my favorite wrestling move of all time. And in the context of the story, Nyla has been power bombing her through tables, so it makes sense. But I just love the pacing of this match. I love, like you said, Athena playing the underdog. Nyla being completely Nyla with vocalizing everything she's doing, but really just trying to destroy Athena's body in any way that she can see fit. The O-face through the table is just such an innovative, cool, different spot that I was just so excited that it was a 2 out of 3 falls match, because I knew there was going to be another spot. And then them doing the electric chair drops finish, which I think another innovative spot. I love the kind of tug of war battle that they had at the end there on the apron and the turnbuckle of, there's a table right here, there's a table right here, there's a table right here. Like, I could fall through one, you could fall through one, we both could fall through one, everybody could fall through one. Like that little moment of who's gonna do it, who's gonna do it. Oh, Athena got the advantage and she finished it. Really good stuff. Yeah, that was the only thing that kind of was frustrating, of like, they built Nyla up as this threat and she was a threat, but it just didn't feel like she was going to win, considering it was taped, it was on TV, like all the things. It's like, there's no way she's gonna win in this moment, right? So that was frustrating, but this was a great match. Everything about it was really good. I love them making everybody kind of look dominant, and it wasn't a big squash. Nyla was laughing kind of at the end of it and everything. So there was a lot of really good elements to this. Interested to see what they do with Athena at Supercard of Honor. They're going to go the Billie Starkz way. They're going to build another contender. Is Aminata going to maybe be over there? And what happens with Nyla for the rest of this? Is she going to stay with Ring of Honor, or is she going to move on? I thought all of this was executed well, though.
Very glad Nyla had this opportunity and has had some room in ROH to breathe. And let's not forget, Camille may be coming in. We don't know. Camille. We haven't heard either way, but that could be a really, really fun possible contender. Jam Beard choosing violence, saying ZSJ's title reign was one of the ugliest things to ever exist in the world of pro wrestling. Also, Nigel eats clams. Wow, I didn't realize it was Opposites Day, Jam Beard. But I'll throw some middle school justifications at you, okay? Opposites Day was what most inspired reigns in my lifetime, and Nigel would never to clams. I wouldn't lay $1 on Nigel eating clams. But before we bring on our TNA crew, I'll tell you, if you do want to bet your dollars on something, exactly who you should be consulting for such a thing.
Hey guys, I'm here to tell you about betonline.ag, the official betting partner of Fightful. It's not just an online platform. They've been trusted for over 25 years. They boast a focus on the player approach and have built their reputation on offering their clients nothing but the best. From cutting-edge technology to enticing promotions and the latest sports betting odds. Whether it be wrestling, MMA, boxing, or football, baseball, basketball, or racing, anything you can think of. All major sporting events are covered by betonline.ag. Fast payouts, highest credit card acceptance industry-wide, safe and secure online environments, and their live betting feature allows you to bet on your favorites weekly and easily and in real time. betonline.ag. That's where we're going at Fightful. That's where we suggest you go as well. That's where we get all of our odds at. betonline.ag. Only bet what you can, and please bet responsibly.
Yeah. Wait.
Bet responsibly, please.
Sean Ross Sapp was saying erasing in that thing. I thought he was saying erasing. I was like, you could bet on people erasing? Like, who can erase this paper the fastest? The erasing championships?
The Guinness Book of World Records. Erasing.
The TNA crew is here. Sandra.
What up? What up? What up?
What's
Cresta,
up, y'all?
first of all, you look beautiful.
Yeah, you look great, Cresta.
Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad.
You're so welcome. Second of
You look
all,
okay too, Joe. Okay, all right.
Damn.
Same as
Joel,
I
you
always.
look so pretty.
Oh my god, thank you so much.
Cresta, I know this is the TNA post show for you guys and the ROH post show for us, but I would be remiss if I didn't say we've got a Meat Madness match coming up
Meat
at
Madness.
Revolution.
What you
Is
think?
there
Wow.
anything that has ever been made more for Cresta in the history of the universe? Your thoughts?
Honestly, I am so happy because I rarely get gifts in professional wrestling, and this was made for me. I've been
Yeah.
cooking Tony Khan on Twitter. I've gone to the media scrums. He knows who I am, and he said, "You know what? Happy Black History Month, Cresta. Here's a meat platter." And I'm
Mhm.
overjoyed. I'm grateful. Now, just get me on commentary. I promise I won't be thirsty.
She's gonna be way thirsty. I wouldn't take that bet.
detector test, and we found that was a lie. Roy Povich is coming out here testing you, Cresta. But I did love in the beginning. She was like,
Mhm.
Listen, I am overjoyed. I think that what we consider meat now, these men are so athletic, and we're gonna get cruiserweight X division from guys that look like Bronson Reed. And oh hell
Cruiser
yeah.
"It's gonna be cruiser meat. I'm
meat.
in. I'm in.
I
on
don't
cruiser
want no
meat.
30-minute classic. I don't want no rest holds. I
Hold
don't
on a
want. I
minute.
just want to see big meat in bed, slapping meat, 5
I
minutes
get it.
tops, and I want you to be winded.
Wow.
Well, I love that. And I love that for you. Here in ROH, we did pretty well today considering we still are having obstacles getting our champions on screen. We did have an awesome 2 out of 3 falls match between Nyla Rose and Athena. That was incredible. And the tournament's coming along really, really nicely. But you also had some women's action over there. You had Ash by Elegance. Ash by Elegance? I always want to flip it around.
She is Ash by Elegance.
Ash by Elegance.
Mhm.
Debuting in ring tonight, right?
Yes.
How was TNA, and are you guys going to use the hourglass emoji?
Okay, first of all, I can't. I'm not contractually. I'm not allowed to.
Ooh,
The other thing is,
tough one.
you forgot the big, not debut, but the big arrival tonight. I'm gonna talk about meat. Big Damo showed up.
Oh,
Ooh,
Had himself a
pulled
match
up
with
out of
Eric Young.
nowhere.
he's not a meat guy. What are you talking about?
What was that?
I was like, Simon Gotch isn't a meat guy. What are you talking about?
No, not anymore. No, it's
Throw
Big
meat.
Damo, I love Damo. That fucking rules.
Yeah, Damo had a match with Eric Young.
He
It's
just
a nice
randomly
little wrinkle.
popped out. They're like, Big Dame. I was like, oh, okay.
Let's
I mean,
go.
it was good storytelling. They're doing a whole thing where Kazarian just keeps pulling people out of Eric Young's past. So
Sanity.
who better than a guy from Sanity?
Mm-hmm.
I love
Where's-
that. That's fun. I love
Where's the
Damo.
rest of them? Where are the rest of Sanity when you need them?
I don't have time to do this. Kate, tell Joel the movie idea from Alex. Alex laid out a full Dijak Joe Gacy story
okay.
that I will have to send you for Tuesday, but it was impressive because Dijak is basically just like a 90s action hero at this point. Yes, that he's doing and stuff. But he had like a whole treatment ready to go. And since you basically are Joe Gacy and the kid of Scott D'Amore, you have a very complicated wrestling family tree. You're gonna need a PowerPoint slide for like the D'Amore Gacy dynasty someday to finish your story. But
He's standing on the stage at a TED Talk. Take a look.
All I can think of is, and you're Canadian, you could just sing Avril Lavigne. I'm standing on a stage. I'm
Avril.
standing on a stage.
I saw
standing on a
Avril.
stage. Thought that
Look
you'd
at
be
this
here
stage.
by
I'm Canadian.
now.
I'm sorry.
Ridiculous.
I saw
Well-
Avril when she was just getting started. I saw her for free at the X in Ottawa.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
You're standing on a stage.
I was gonna say you guys start talking about Avril. That's like my cue to leave. But I'm here for Cresta just singing. I'm standing on a stage.
Mm-hmm.
Paralysis demon tonight. You're welcome.
Jesus.
Well, we will turn the show over to Joel and Cresta. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Stick around to find out more about what's going on with TNA because they are back to TNA form in several ways. But we're going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much.
Stands of the hourglass.
Bye, guys.
Oh, so are the days of my disdain. It's funny because it's like Kate was saying, they're back to being TNA. And it's like, yeah, they're back to us having no earthly idea what's going to go on next.
Listen, sometimes there's a wise man in wrestling that said stuff just happens. And that's how I have to take the situation. Stuff just happens. And that is what happened here. Stuff just happens. It don't need an explanation. It's like magic. I don't have to explain shit to you.
So in our interview with Moose that we did on In the Weeds yesterday, it was on Wednesday. We asked him about the Scott D'Amore departure, and we're not officially into the post show for the audio yet, so it doesn't matter. But no, we asked him about it, and actually, I think Moose had a really good way of approaching the situation, and that was he viewed Scott as a head coach, and Moose, coming from a football background, is very familiar with a coach getting fired, laid off, replaced, whatever. And he's like, you run the same play, you run the same vision. We just have a different coach. The GMs are the same and they're still trusted with the vision. Nobody wants TNA to go anywhere. The problem here, the only thing, like the wrinkle with what he's saying, was that TNA was largely a Scott vision. And when you take out the guy who's been considered the heart and soul of the product, it becomes a little more difficult to see what that vision is supposed to be according to someone who had the vision. It's not impossible, but again, I do appreciate the way that Moose had put it, because it does put things into perspective a little bit better. I know Alex Shelley was also on Busted Open around the same time, and he's a guy who's been in and out of TNA, out of Impact, for 20 years.
Yeah.
He has that experience too, regime changes and all. So I do think y'all should go check that out. It's good.
I will say that after sitting on it and finding more information, that while the initial shock is I'm angry, I'm still one of those people that want to see TNA succeed. So I'm going to support regardless. And that's a very pragmatic way to put it. It's still the same vision, still the same goal. It's just like you said, it becomes a little difficult when it was somebody's vision. You can have the playbook, but if you don't know how to interpret the plays, I hope for the best. I hope that this is something that we can have a big old homecoming, because never say never in professional wrestling. Hopefully Scott D'Amore does come back. Hopefully there's somewhere we can find a middle ground, because I think that'll be, the optics are great on that. Everyone's happy about it. But until then, I'm hoping the best success for TNA. I know that's a very pageant queen answer, but it's the truth. I care about the product enough to be like, this sucks, but I'm not going to not support it because of it. You know what I mean?
This weekend is going to be, I've said it before, I'll say it again. It's going to be very telling of how things are looking. It's going to be the first step, because this is the first time that the talent is all together. Many are already in New Orleans, so it's begun. And other members are joining up today and into tomorrow as well. And we'll see kind of where TNA continues to go. Yeah. People in the chat saying there's a meeting on Saturday. There have been meetings since the moment I just talked about. they've been together. They have been discussing, and there's a changeover happening. And now we're going to see how that plays out Friday with No Surrender. And then of course the tapings on Saturday and everything leading up to and after that. It's going to be another interesting ripple for TNA that just did a rebrand, had a very successful January when they did Hard to Kill. And of course the Snake Eyes tapings in Vegas. There's a lot of good momentum coming in, and now it's immediately people are just uncertain, and that is kind of TNA way of life.
Yeah, the only thing I could think of is everyone keeps saying, all things considered, this is a very TNA thing to do. So they said we were back, and they weren't kidding. So here we are.
Yeah, warts and all, we're back to it. Anyway, are you ready to do the real thing?
I'm ready to do the real thing.
Even better than the real thing. And a 1 and a 2. Hello, friends. We're back again. It's Fightful.com, and it's time for your TNA Impact post show. It's February 22nd, 2024. I am Joel Pearl, and of course, the lovely, fantastic collider of Impact is here. Cresta Star joins me. How are you, Cresta Star?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm overworked, underpaid, but I'm happy to watch wrestling. I haven't been watching wrestling consistently for the past 2 months, and as much as I complain, man, I miss it. So I finally got to sit down and just watch wrestling and enjoy it tonight. Such a good episode, in my opinion.
Yeah, overall, you know what? This was the go home show for TNA No Surrender. That's tomorrow night if you're watching us live. Friday night, that's the 23rd of February. If you're watching us after the fact, we are going to be doing a post show on Fightful or on Overbooked because SmackDown also has a post show, I guess. Even though SmackDown's taped, forget them. Come and watch us. Cresta will not be joining us, but SB3 will. So I brought in the other gun that I want in my saddle, I guess. So SB3 is going to join me for a not a hard to kill, a TNA No Surrender post show tomorrow night over on Fightful. Okay, that'll be Friday night. But yeah, this is enough going on. This is a good show. It was a lot of wrestling action, which I appreciate. And it's always interesting, Cresta, when you have a show that tapes leading into a live event and you're trying to build stories around what you have taped and still make it feel fresh. I thought the main event was solid in the ring. I thought the work was really good. You had the system taking on KUSHIDA, Alex Shelley, and Kevin Knight. It was a really good match. It's interesting that Chris Sabin, of course, is removed from all of this because he's facing Mustafa Ali at TNA No Surrender for the X Division title. But as a main event, it was a very strong main event, as I'm still wondering what the hell is a No Surrender match going to look like? And was this enough for me to get interested in the main event? I don't know how you felt beyond just watching the main event itself.
The main event was good, but yo, get your cameras out, get your clipping tools ready. But the Steve Maclin Trent 7 match stole the show for me. That was my favorite match of the night. What a match. What a match. Holy crap. And I know somebody's like, yeah, Cresta, did you? Hey, I'm a wrestling fan. I flip-flop all the time. Shut the hell up. That was such a good match. That was such a good match. The main event was good, but that Trent 7 Steve Maclin match, they ate that. They stole the show for me with that.
And you and I were going back and forth in the DMs, and I said, I'm surprised they gave this match 10 minutes. Not because they're not good at doing that, but because the storyline is, first of all, not a part of No Surrender, being Maclin and Nemeth. Nemeth wasn't there. Nick Nemeth is also working New Japan this weekend, so that's why he's not on the card with Maclin. And you've now added a match to the Countdown show, which is Rascals versus Speedball Mountain. Again, Maclin is just, he's just kind of there and waiting for now. And you don't expect them to give 10 minutes to that. Whereas the main event got a lot more and arguably has a bigger, gravitas going into No Surrender.
Yeah.
But I agree. The match with Maclin and Trent 7 was fantastic. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk everything tonight's Impact show. And of course, you can join the conversation, leaving a super chat, or you can go to humperchats.com and talk to us there. Cresta, tell them how.
You go to humperchats.com, you put in your comment, you give us a dollar amount, we get to keep a larger portion, and Joel and I will read it on air. If you're like, hey, what do you guys think about Trent 7 and his glorious mustache? We'll respond. Like I said, we get to keep a little bit more. We're happy. Sean Ross Sapp is happy. The Decepticons are happy. Humperchats.com. Pal.
I liked Astro Train. That was my favorite Decepticon.
Oh, I was like, what? I thought you were saying Asterion from earlier. Too many video games. Too much nerd culture in my brain.
What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
I don't belong here.
Anyway, Jambeer kicks us off. Who do you think would benefit more from hiring Scott D'Amore, WWE or AEW? So for those of you who are listening in audio, we did have a little bit of conversation about Scott D'Amore and just comments that have been made by other TNA talent. Moose and Alex Shelley specifically. Moose was on In the Weeds, which is the show myself and Jeremy Lambert do every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern till noon over on Fightful Overbooked, our sister channel. And Alex Shelley was on Busted Open at around the same time as well. And so the conversation has kind of shifted. Where does Scott go next? I'll let you start with this, and then I can give you my thoughts afterwards.
I have had this conversation a lot this week, and if TNA is not on the table, I would be lying if I would love for him to go back to TNA. I think what he's done there has been fantastic, and there is so much. Finish the story. That's the story I want to see finished. However, if that is off the table, I think what Scott D'Amore has done for the women's division in particularly has been amazing. So I would love to see him do something with AEW that has a lot of the right players, a lot of the right pieces. I just think can sometimes feel a little either directionless or stuck in a infinite loop. I think Scott D'Amore would put a lot of life and injection into an already stacked roster. That's just my 2 cents. But if that's only if TNA is not on the roster, if not on the card. If we could put him on TNA, finish the story.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, this becomes a philosophical conversation for me at least. Scott would be more akin to WWE style of storytelling, and you see that in TNA programming.
I can see that.
Some of the kitschy stuff and just some of the ways that they would approach getting to title matches and things like that. It's a more WWE variant. AEW could benefit from that type of storytelling in moderation. I don't think that, you bring in someone like Scott and it goes heavy. A lot of people said, "Oh, bring him and do ROH." I wouldn't want that personally, because Ring of Honor was built on a grapple based program, right? It was more about the wrestling and the rankings than it was about anything else. But like you said, at the end of the day, TNA would be the only place. And if you're Scott and you only care about being in TNA, then he has other options. I'll tell you that much. He is not up Schitt's Creek if he's not doing wrestling. I'll put it like that. But that's kind of where we'll land with the Scott question. Thank you for that. We have other questions that we're going to get to throughout the show. Let's talk TNA Impact. Chris Sabin opens up the show taking on Jason Hotch. Another good hand falls to the X Division Championship. It's non-title. I do like that Skylar is calling Sabin the embodiment of the X Division, but also you keep losing this match. You keep losing this title. You lost it 9 times. I know you haven't seen this, but I want to bring you up to speed. The year is 2002, somewhere around there. And we're in the locker room, and a young, spry Rob Van Dam approaches Booker T. Booker T, who is a five-time WCW champion. And he says so much. And RVD turns to Booker T and says, "Wow, you really lost that title 5 times?" And that's exactly what Skylar was doing to Sabin tonight. Go find that segment.
I mean, I've heard a similar promo to one Charlotte Flair. "How you 16-time champion? That means you lost it 15 times." Or "How many times champion? That means you lost it." And then someone said I like these points. It's rude, but I like these points.
Hodge says he's going to give Sabin a preview of his impending loss and No Surrender, and they're going to take care of him with these good hands. And of course, what does Sabin do? He goes and works over Jason Hodge's one good
hand.
It's a solid
good hands.
Yeah, it's a solid match. Sabin gets the win with the cradle shock. It's all leading up to Mustafa Ali. Now, I will add this before you get your thoughts. I do like that they're using good hands right now when they didn't have access to Ali. Ali wasn't at the tapings in Orlando, therefore he was 3 weeks appearing on tapings, which is fine. And using the good hands is easy, it's effective, and these guys are 2 wrestlers you can expect a good match out of, and we got that from Sabin and Hodge, Sabin and Skylar. It worked out. So give me your thoughts on the match, and we can probably get forward on that.
I will say the match was fine. The chest chops, that was the theme of the night. Everyone was getting their chest pounded in tonight. It's fine. I do like you said, Skylar and Hodge, not to play on their name, they are good hands. Like, if you put them in a match, they're good guys to be jerks. And they play their part very well. A young, spry Edward Edwards, if you will.
My favorite Edward of them all. Ali cuts a promo. Of course, it's a pre-recorded one. It says the future of the X Division lands on a choice. He calls Sabin the most consistent champion, although he's lost it 9 times and buckled under pressure. Once again, RVD Booker T. And then Ali calls himself a generational champion, a visionary, unfazed by the fear of change. He's in the prime of his career. He's ready to revitalize the X Division, bring stability and hope as TNA forges a brand new future. And he says TNA will embrace the change, and in Ali we trust. It's a good promo. It's a solid promo. It's the Ali that he's presenting to everyone right now in and out of TNA. And of course, I have Shelley in my notes when I should have Sabin. That's what happens when people have the same last name. Chris Sabin cuts a promo. He says, "I was excited for this version of Ali, but this is not the Ali that I like." And he says, "I'm Chris Sabin." Bitch. Channels is in Natalia.
I mean, I'm not going to hold you. I 50% hate this Ali gimmick, and you are corpo scum, and I cannot believe this is what you're doing. But as a wrestling fan, I hate that I like it. It stinks a heel. It stinks. It's brother, this stinks. And I can't wait because I know he could wrestle. So it's gonna be even worse because you're gonna be annoying Corporal Scum and you're gonna wrestle. And this match is gonna be great. I don't know who's gonna win this match between Sabin and Ali, but I can't wait. I tell you that.
I like the character. I like the way it's going. I like the way it's being presented. It's right. It's exactly what it should be. And I think Ali's going to win. Well, when we run down the card,
hope he does too.
Yeah, when we run down the card, we'll get a better sense of where we're sitting going into tomorrow night. But yeah, Sabin and Ali is probably going to be. You've got a card full of potential 5-star banger-esque matches, and we'll talk about it later. But this is one of them.
Sissy's match is sweating right now. Like, I gotta review this too.
Nah, it's fine. Moose tells the system that they cannot throw in the towel no matter what in this no surrender match. He said so much to us in our interview, so clearly this was something that has been part of the plan, and that's good. And then they all start kind of cha-chaing about it being no disqualification, and then they can all get involved and they can all do stuff. And then in walks Santino Marella, and of course he just says, well, now nobody can get involved in the outside of the match. I'm just sitting there, I'm like, we're just making this matchup as we go along, aren't we?
Fast and loose, baby.
It's fast and loose, and it's just, I said it when they announced it. I'm like, this is very convoluted, and I'm willing to see where it goes. But now it's just turning into, they're all going to fight. Their friends are going to be there. And if their friends get involved, it's a disqualification. But also their friends are going to be the ones that throw in the towel. So they can't throw in the towel. It's just, it's layers on layers of just needless shit. And I don't know if it'll further a storyline, but to me, it's not hitting. That's how I'm feeling.
I feel like the ending is going to be someone literally taking someone else's hand and throwing in the towel for someone, something so silly like that. You know what I mean? And I would kind of live for it because that's a very TNA thing to do. But at the same time, like you said, it's getting more convoluted. I mean, it does make sense to make it where like you guys can't jump him because we know how y'all give it up. And Alicia is a jerk and they don't have a girl and they're not going to hit a girl, but they need one because she's wild. That being said, how are they supposed to throw in the towel? It's maybe they sit like in a cage on top of the cage, and I don't know.
Oh yeah, shark cages. Let's go.
Yeah, like cage on the system on a pole cage match.
Wow, Vince Russo really is back in TNA. We're booking it,
bro.
No, I don't want to talk about that guy's a piece of shit. Anyway, regardless. It's a match that's going to happen. It is the main event, and I'm sure that Shelley and Moose are going to have a good match, but it's the outside factors that are just like making me wonder, what are we going to do? And how do we do this? It's a weird, Towel turns heel, joins RVD, and just gets high all the time.
Bro, I have to tell you,
that's the
watching Wednesday Night Dynamite, completely off topic, when RVD said, where's Nana? Y'all said he might have something I would be interested in. I almost tears.
That was good stuff.
That's such good shit, pal. And then followed up with, is he here tonight? Rob Van Dam is a treasure. It needs to be protected at all costs.
When you're playing sports, the sweat can get in your eye. That's why Tony says, don't forget to bring a towel.
That's the safest hands of the business. Say what you want.
I got you, Louie. I get you. Simon Gotch takes on Jack Price. Jack Price makes his, I don't know, quarterly return to TNA.
Poor Jack Price. He didn't deserve this.
You know what, though? So Simon Gotch, this is his first match in TNA. Josh Alexander joins in on commentary. There's a rule that these two cannot touch, but they do get face-to-face in the ring after the match. But let's talk about the match itself. Simon Gotch gets real rough with Jack Price. I love that Gotch continues to look at Josh Alexander with every bit of offense he hits. It looks good. It looks impactful. Josh is sitting there having to take it. It's all Gotch, of course. Jack Price gets no offense whatsoever. And then you do the Gotch style pile driver. Not good enough. No pin. He just stares at Josh Alexander while he hooks in a bulldog choke and then chokes out. Jack Price gets the submission, keeps it in. Josh gets in. They go face to face. The matches quickly come together. But I like that they at least gave Simon Gotch a TV match to get fans who are not used to Simon Gotch an idea of what they're in for.
I honestly, that was more in depth than what I wrote. I said, while I hear this match is stiff, Sadly, this is about Josh Alexander being on commentary. Scotch style pile driver, rear bulldog choke, Price wins, Price loses.
Yeah, no, but that's what it is. It's Josh talking over violence. And that's okay, but you needed to watch the violence too, because Simon Gotch kept pointing and, being like, this is going to be you. I'm going to do this to you on Friday. This is going to be you. And those two had a really good match in Destiny years ago. And we're going to potentially see the same match coming up this Friday. That's good.
I will also say, to Simon Gotch's credit, much like Top Dollar, I've heard that he's just one of the grumpiest people in wrestling, kind of like FTR bald. So I live for it that he's just like, I'm going to be grumpy this entire match. Jack Price thought you was going to get some graps in. Nope. That's not what's happening here. I'm going to chop your chest off. I'm going to be angry and stare at Josh Alexander. Sorry, Jack Price. You had to pay the price.
Did you just say Dalla was grumpy?
No, I said much like Top Dollar leans into the heel persona because people are like, I don't want to see this. He's like, I don't care if you want to see this. I paid to be here.
Okay. I got you. I was gonna be like, because Dalla's really like happy.
From what I've seen online, his Twitter presence, he actually seems like a happy-go-lucky person. But people just don't like this guy. I don't know what he did. What did he do to make these guys so angry? I don't know.
He didn't do the moves they wanted people wanted him to do.
You didn't do the flippy do correctly, and now I don't like you.
Pretty much. Or like you weren't presented in a way that I like, therefore you're garbage. When really he's not only a very nice guy, but also very talented. Like he's a lot better than people will ever understand or give him credit for. So I put over Dalla because if there's one thing Dalla's going to do, it's show up literally everywhere, except for in the weeds where we've challenged him.
That's crazy.
Isn't it? But he's showing up. Dude shows up in TNA. He's going to have a tag match at the Bayou Blast tapings. He shows up in MLW. Him and Alex Kane are going to have a fight. He shows up. Oh my God, I just thought of something. Anyway, not important. He shows up. He's going to be at the NWA pay-per-view. Like, what are we doing here? He shows up at the NWA and he can't show up at our show? What is this?
He said, I'm afraid. So because I'm afraid, I'm going to go wrestle instead. See, I'm trying to stir the pot. That's what I do. Ride or die, stir the pot. He got to show up now. Controversy creates chaos, baby.
Listen, all I'm saying is that Dalla, you have an open invitation to join us on In the Weeds. There is a battle rap waiting for you with Jeremy Lambert. Lambert's ready. It'll be for charity. We'll have some fun. Okay?
I'll beatbox it for the memes. It's going to be off beat.
Apparently Jeremy doesn't do well with beats. I don't know what that's about.
You know what? That's a conversation for another time.
He's a freestyle beatnik, I guess. I don't know.
Beatnik. How old are you?
Listen. You want to talk about my work in any of the rap hip hop world? I just did an interview today with a record label rep and a wrestling organization that are doing a show. It'll be on Fightful Overbook, but either way, it's a punk label. So that's where my world is. Okay.
I live. That's iconic. Rest in peace.
I mean, they're still alive.
They're not dead. When you say it like that, you're right. They're not dead. They're just not together as a team no more.
They're still together. They're just not the team on TV. They still besties. It's all right.
Thanks, Joel. Now I'm gonna get beat up by the Iconics.
Listen, someone's gotta take you.
Somebody, I gotta do the job sometime, man.
Fine. We'll get it. You know what? That'll be the Forbidden Door match that we get in June. That'll be your Forbidden Door match.
Finger point of doom, baby. It's the easiest check you'll ever get. I'll just
you just fall back. These guys won't fall back. GYV cut a promo. They're like, we came to fight the best tag teams in the world, and we need to be the tag team champions. They put over the ABC, and they say it's story. It ends with them winning the tag titles in No Surrender. This is one of the other matches on the No Surrender card that will potentially steal match of the night. I'm looking forward to GYV ABC 3 because that's going to be very good.
That's going to be good. And as much as I like ABC, I'm low-key expecting them to drop the title. And I don't, but Zach Gibson is so good at cutting promos. I thought he was going to beat me up.
Jump through the screen, take you out.
He's like, lads, I was like, I'm sorry. I used my wallet. Ain't nothing in it, but you can have it. Like,
it's true though. He was always the talker of the two, and he's a solid guy to cut those promos. I'm largely in agreement with you. I could see them winning the tag titles, and I could see the opportunity for them to face a lot of really solid babyface tag teams in the TNA tag division.
After beating Good Hands first, of course.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what they deserve.
Now you've got no hands.
Can't believe Saban targeted the Good Hand.
The one good hand.
One good hand. Macklin and Trent 7. We talked about this at the beginning of the show. This was a really solid match that like didn't need to exist, but it also needed to exist because it forwarded a story. Macklin gets the win. Of course he does, in a very competitive match. This was a slap happy match. And speaking of happy, I said this on Twitter. I've never seen Macklin smile on camera when it comes to TNA. This was the first time I've seen Steve Macklin smiling on camera. And it's while he's hanging out with the Rascals. And I don't think that's a coincidence, Cresta Star. I think Macklin's spending some time in the treehouse.
To quote RVD, you said Nana was going to be there. He might have something I'm interested in.
Kelly, RVD, Steve Macklin. I'm just saying it's cool.
Sometimes in this life as adults, grass grows. Next question.
I'm going to pull. I normally put up only the super chats, but this is funny to me. Does Speedball Mike Bailey not put on shoes? So
he doesn't know what shoes are.
when Speedball and I did our interview over on Fightful.com, someone saw that the video was going to go live. The premiere was happening. They pre-commented with, if he's not wearing shoes, I'm unsubscribing from the channel. When the thumbnail clearly shows us wearing socks, like we're not wearing shoes because we're in a hotel room, and we're Canadian. We take off our shoes when we go into the hotel room. We are. It's a thing. It's a whole conversation about Canadians, and we take off our shoes when we go into people's homes. I know that's not always in the US, but anyway, he always has his shoes off regardless. Doesn't matter what it is. It's just his thing. Anyway,
I say if that's what he's comfortable doing, I'm not a wrestler, so far be it for me to tell him what to do. But much like with many other barefoot wrestlers, one of these days you're going to go against a real heel like a Jeff Jarrett who's going to step right on your toe. And when that happens, I'm so sorry.
It's this really, it's like one extra thing you have to be cognizant of when you're in the ring, and that's you and whoever you're facing or just in the ring with. This was Rusev. Miro used to wrestle barefoot until he broke his foot. Riddle is another one who used to wrestle barefoot, broke his foot. There have been a lot of shoeless wrestlers, and you really run the risk of a foot injury, a legitimate foot injury, and that's hard to heal from if you work barefoot. So I get it, but hey, Speedball works bare feet, and it works for him. So far, so good.
I live for it, but again, I love a good heel in professional wrestling, and Jeff Jarrett, a Randy Orton will see you beating them up, and you're just gonna be like, nah, right on your big toe, and then you're upset.
So the reason why I was a little taken aback by the complexity of this match is because Trent Seven's being presented as a single star, as a tag star, and you've got Macklin, who is a former Impact, now TNA world champion. I didn't expect things to be so evenly matched, and it was slap happy from the get-go. You had Trent Seven kick out of a near fall and then immediately jump up and slap Macklin on the chest, which made me cackle. And then Macklin just keeps dishing it right back. Rascals keep getting involved. Speedball keeps trying to run them off, and he does a good job until finally the numbers catch up. Macklin hits the kick, the KIA, and he caught in the crosshairs as well, and that was it. So it was a really, 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 really good match. It was just very, very, very strange given the fact that Nemeth isn't there. We don't have a match to build to other than now Rascals versus Speedball Mountain. We'll talk about that in a second. And it was a singles match. So your thoughts on the match itself, and then we'll talk about the post backstage comments.
You took a lot of the words right out of my mouth about it being a slap happy, heavy match. These guys have a chemistry. Like Macklin and Trent Seven have like a real chemistry where, much like I thought Zach Gibson was going to beat me up, I was like, these guys, they know wrestling isn't really it was really, really good. Like this match again stole the show. That 7-point lariat into a big a driver on Macklin was so good. Just the chest chops from Trent Seven sounded like it reverberated through Macklin's whole body. Like that should be a Mortal Kombat finisher, the way he was hitting him so hard. I want to see these two wrestle again. Like that match was so good. Like I don't know what these two just bring out of each other, so it's the chemistry, but I want to see Macklin versus Trent 7, best out of 7. Sorry about it.
Can't believe you went there. Backstage, Speedball Mountain have some intense, verbose comments for the Rascals. Speedball says that he and the Rascals have fundamental disagreements about professional wrestling. And then I immediately thought about our interview because he and I had the same conversation. And then he says to them, it's about, to Speedball Mountain, it's about pushing yourself past your limits and stepping into the ring to come out stronger, climbing the mountain and coming down on the other side a better person. Trent 7 takes over and says that they'll meet they'll meet the Rascals rather on the top of Speedball Mountain and see who comes down the other side, the better people, and who gets knocked back down in an avalanche of failure. This is going to be a match on the Countdown Show. So it's free, but that's a match on the Countdown Show now.
I think it's going to be a good match for the Countdown Show. That if you are someone watching this and you're like, I don't know if I want to order, it's not No Surrender, is it?
Yeah, it is.
It is. Oh, come on, Cresta, you know your stuff. If you're like, I don't know if I want to order No Surrender. I think this would be a good appetizer. Like, oh, this is what's cooking over there. All right, take my little $60. Take my little $60. However much it is, I don't know.
And again, we talked about GYV and ABC. This is a very tag team heavy show because they've got the Speedball Mountain versus Rascals match on the Countdown. Also on the Countdown, they announced it's going to be Edwards and Myers versus Kushida and Kevin Knight. We'll talk about that a little bit when we get to the main event talk. But again, it looks like they're really working on the tag division again in TNA, and that's not a bad thing.
I agree. That's a great thing for TNA.
Giselle Shaw's backstage talking about how she got rid of her distractions and now she wants to turn the big red X into Knockouts Gold. Gail Kim walks up and commends her for getting rid of the Shaw entourage and says, but you did it. It was very unprofessional. And then Kim says, next time, try doing it with humility and grace. And then Shaw's like, I'm going to win the title without anybody's help and advice. And that's that. What do you think? This is, again, Gail Kim going up to Giselle Shaw and getting in her face. What are we doing here?
We're foreshadowing. And I can't wait. I want to be right about this, but I would like to see Giselle Shaw versus Gail Kim. I don't know why. It makes sense in my fantasy. I would like to also high key, low key. I would like to see Giselle Shaw get screwed over by someone of the Shaw entourage.
I said this before, and maybe I'm wrong. I haven't actually checked in on this, but I'm wondering if TNA Creative had a hope that Deonna Purrazzo would stick around at least long enough for Hard to Kill so that she could do a match with Gail Kim. Who is the knockouts, the quintessential, not quintessential because that's Giselle Shaw, but who is like the knockout of knockouts. But obviously they didn't do it, so instead they're going to pivot to Giselle Shaw, who took out Deonna Purrazzo in Purrazzo's last match in TNA and Impact, and then we'll just move from there. Gail Kim passing it off to Giselle Shaw, that's not a bad thing, but again, we don't know who's sticking around TNA and who's not.
Yeah, I mean the whole situation. Again, with Scott withstanding, it makes a lot of people like, oh, I'm not sure. Ugh. And again, I think going back to what you said about the Moose interview, that it's very important that you guys keep the same mission. I'm not going to tell you I live your life, not your mom, not your dad. But, hopefully this is a come up for Giselle. You know what I mean? Where one person steps aside, sometimes you got to fill a gap, baby.
And again, we sat here at the beginning of our post shows and said, I don't know about Giselle Shaw. Her work isn't up to par, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden we were like, oh shit, she got it. Mm-hmm. Something happened and everything changed. And I don't know if that was because she was able to put more work into her training and more work into her promo, but all of a sudden things changed for Giselle and she became the character we see and the wrestler that we see in the ring. And I think that's very much worth pointing out.
Yes.
Eric Young is coming to the ring. He says he's going to take on Frankie Kazarian. They're going to do face-to-face. And then Kazarian comes out. He's not wearing his gear. And he says, no, I'll decide when we wrestle. And then Kazarian said, we've been in this business for so long. It's normal to have some ghosts in your past. So he brings out Big Damo. For those who don't know, Big Damo was the former Killian Dane in NXT and WWE. And he and Eric Young were in a group called Sanity, along with a couple other guys. Not really important right now. Damo and Eric Young have a very, very good match. Damo it's all Damo early, all that back hair just coming at you fast. And then Damo yells, "You've gone soft," and Eric Young's like, "Nah, forget this," and he just beats the shit out of Damo for a bit. It's a good back and forth match. I really liked it. Eric Young hits his pile driver, hits it at an odd angle, gets the win. It's still safe. What did you think of the match? Let's talk.
The match itself, very pleased, surprised to see Big Damo. Hope he's sticking around. Love it. I'm a fan of the back hair. That's a meaty man. That's a meaty man with some hair. Stop messing with him. That's meat wad. At this point in the show, though, the crowd really stepped up his heckling. I think at one point, Eric Young fell to the ground and somebody yelled out, "He needs some milk." I'm like, oh my God, you guys are the worst. There was a lot of times, even when in the post-match, when Eric Young is talking, like, talk in your regular voice, get this man some water. Sometimes it reminded me of what you said about maybe it's time to pump in some crowd noises. So it's not so quiet where people can hear that. Maybe let me try to cook the books a little bit. Overall, the match itself was great. I don't know. Eric Young picking up Big Damo will always be impressive to me. I see Eric Young pick up bigger guys, but it'll always be impressive. I don't know what we do here. Obviously, we do the Frankie Kazarian Eric Young match, but then it kind of like, what then after that? Does Eric Young stay like this middle stalker, or does he go back to being the psychopath? Which honestly, I would like for him to just start stalking people in TNA.
The match is now the winner gets a world title shot for the TNA world title between Eric Young and Frankie Kazarian. I think Kazarian wins. I don't know why. It's just a feeling that I have. He cheats to win. But then then it's going to be Kazarian and Moose. And they're very much both heels. So I guess Eric Young has to win because I don't see Alex Shelley recapturing the TNA title at No Surrender.
I agree. I see some shenanigans happening for Shelley, where Shelley gets the towel thrown in on him, even though he didn't want the towel thrown in. I see shenanigans.
We'll see where it goes. Maybe they're going to do a triple threat. Who knows? But like at Sacrifice. So yes, the winner of Eric Young and Frankie Kazarian gets the world title shot at TNA Sacrifice in March. It's going to be one of those men. Whoever wins might just telegraph the finish to the world title match. We'll find out soon enough. Post-match, Young says, I don't understand what's going on in your head, Frankie Kazarian, but I know what's going on in mine, and it's not going to end well for you. And then he calls out Kazarian. They make the match and No Surrender, like we said. Tasha Steelz then challenges Zaya Brookside to a rubber match next week, which has been promoted for Bayou Blast. And she says it's the flavor division, and C is the queen on the throne. Tasha Steelz and Zaya Brookside one last time, huh?
Sure. It's a good match. They got great chemistry. I'm happy. Nothing against Zaya Brookside, but I am a huge Tasha Steelz fan. So anytime she's on the screen, I love it.
Yeah, exactly. And Jody Threat, Danny Luna, they're talking about how they're not happy MK Ultra is getting the Knockouts tag title shot because they have, in another world, victories over both Masha and Killer Kelly. Well, I mean, Danny Luna does, but anyway, not important. They say they're good people. They work for their opportunity. It was a little convoluted, okay? Let's face it. And then Luna says we get next. Basically, whoever wins the Knockouts tag title match, they're going to have next. And that's that.
The promo was fine.
It was. You know what else is fine? Spending $5 on FightfulSelect.com. Okay, best $5 in the business, baby. You want a Discord? We got you a Discord. We did it for y'all. And it's a good Discord. And it's a busy Discord. And it's for $5, the best $5 in the business. You get on that Discord. We can talk about TNA. We can talk about music and pets and non-wrestling stuff, but also all the wrestling stuff. Do that. You can get some exclusive content over on that Discord. You want an update on Hangman Adam Page after this past Wednesday's Dynamite? We have it over on FightfulSelect.com. Best $5 in the business. Good on you, Cresta Star, blowing your nose on camera, because when other people do it on this channel, they get told that they're doing other things.
I try to do it off camera, but I'm like, damn, someone's going to think I'm doing other stuff. But
it's just the way it goes on this channel. People think we're all jacked up on something.
You gotta be to watch wrestling.
That's true. Our interview notes from our conversation with Moose from In the Weeds is over on FightfulSelect.com. And of course, we'll have Elimination Chamber scoops this weekend because they're in Perth, baby. They're going to add a women's tag title match, by the way. Indy didn't go for nothing. Wrestling fans. Spent weeks telling all, and everyone's like, yeah, they're going to put her in the cage. I'm like, nah, they're not going to put her in the cage. They're just going to put her in a tag team match. That's my Charlie Day reference. How's that?
I don't even know who that is.
Oh, I can't watch any TV.
I'm sorry.
Dobby the Brain Heenan sent a super chat saying, "Can't watch post show live, but live to what is that? Live to fit? What is that? Live to, damn it, Dobby!
Typo.
Damn it, with the typos. Anyway, can't watch post show live, but I had to give my 2 MVPs of the night: Kevin Knight and George Iceman.
He was the MVP.
Knight was incredible, and Iceman added so much. I got DMs from people saying, "Who is George Iceman and why is he so good?" And I said, George Iceman has been a staple of our post show ever since we began, and now he's representing Ash by Elegance. She takes on Savannah Thorne. I love Iceman just being like, "What's your name? What's your name?" Savannah Thorne. I'm so sure that you are so excited. Get out of the ring. Get out of the ring right now.
Get the hell out of here.
Kicks her out, kicks out referee Paige Prince-Avalli out of the ring. Get out of the ring. And then they do the whole presentation of Ash by Elegance. She comes out, does the thing. And there's good stuff for Ash in this. She looked solid. She busted out a few things that were new. That wasn't in her WWE repertoire. I appreciated that. Was it a perfect match? No. But was it a good introduction for a character that's been hyped for a while? I thought it was good. Rarefied Air is her new finish. It's a Swanton Bomb. And then, of course, at the end, Iceman steals the show, interrupts Jade Chung as she's trying to do her winner's introduction or her outro, and then kicks referee Paige out of the ring again, and he basically takes over. It's a good start. You feel otherwise. Let's hear it.
I decided I'm going to be positive and focus on the things
You
I liked in this match.
You don't have to do that. You can be as honest and open as you want. No one's going to attack you. And if they do, well, forget it. It's wrestling and it's purely subjective.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell Ash everything.
I don't care. Do it. Do it big, homeboy. I will say her gear was very nice. George Iceman added a lot to this character. It was over the top carny wrestling. And I'm like, you know what? I'm here for it. I'm here for it. The match itself was not for me. I understand it was exactly what it needed to be, a squish squash. I get it. The attitude change. I'm mean. I'm crazy. Okay, work diva. I'm gonna let it play out. But besides the gear and Iceman, I honestly have no words as to what happened here. I want to let it play out because I believe that TNA. You can get over in TNA. You can get over in TNA. You can get over in TNA. Knock it off. Knock it off. You can get over in TNA. So I'm like, maybe it's me. I just need to have my aha moment.
Her punches are looking better. That was the first start for me. Her punches look better than they did in WWE. Maybe she was told don't pull him as much, or maybe Savannah Thorne said, go ahead. You can knock me unconscious. Doesn't matter. At the same time, she's pulling out some newer moves and setups. Like I said, there's an upside down boot choke that she's doing. I thought she screwed up, and then
Me
she
too.
turned into the boot. And if that's the case, then full marks for fixing it on the fly.
Yeah, I'll give her that.
But if that's the setup, maybe it's a little convoluted and you won't bring it out again. But regardless, it got my attention.
Mm-hmm.
It's not perfect. And I largely agree with the things you're saying. I'm just looking forward to seeing how they play it out. But I'm a little concerned that Iceman will overtake her importance. Because here we are talking about how great Iceman is and not as much about Ash.
I want to see Iceman just be. I knew Iceman was doing it with the intel, but him doing it, especially coming back out, she's left the building. I'm like, oh, you're the worst.
So stupid and so funny at the same time. And people messaged me afterwards just being like, you didn't expect that. I was just like, no, but I laughed, and that's all that mattered.
Yeah, that's such good shit, pal.
Very funny stuff. And, people are saying, where are you going to get your intel from now? I mean, they should get it from me, and they should get it from FightfulSelect.com. Okay. How about that? Best $5 in the business. And then, you can get it. Yeah, just us.
He's going to get it from Sean Ross Sapp playbook.
That's right. I forgot to bring this up during the Macklin match, but Jana had sent us a super chat saying, I hope they take their time putting the TNA championship on Nick Nemeth. I wouldn't mind him losing his first title shot. Everyone expects him to win right away because it's the TNA thing to do, LOL. I mean, right now we're in a LOL TNA kind of holding pattern. But you and I, Cresta, have talked about the trajectory for Nick Nemeth and his ascent to a world title match. We know now it's not going to be at Sacrifice. Most likely is going to happen at Rebellion. That's in April. So you've got a couple of months to tell that story if you so choose. Or do you hold off and do Nemeth versus Macklin all the way at Rebellion and have Nemeth go all the way to, I don't know, Slammiversary and have a title match? It's going to happen. It's inevitable. But is he the guy to dethrone Moose? Is he someone else? What do you think? What are we going to do with Nick Nemeth in the TNA title?
Well, I think I've said this before when it comes to Moose being a heel, that Moose losing, I don't think hurts Moose because he's one of those guys you love to hate, that whether he wins or loses, you're still going to boo him because he's Moose and he's a piece of crap. That being said, I wouldn't mind Nick Nemeth losing, like you said, the first try out, because Moose just got the title, Nick Nemeth then getting the title, and then later on doing it against Steve Macklin, like you said, at Sacrifice, because it's like, bro, you said I couldn't do it and you're mad because it took you so long to do it and I did it in a shorter amount of time than you, and now you're upset. But I would not want Macklin to lose again. Does that make sense? Like in a world title situation, I wouldn't want him to not win in that situation. So
yes, there is the other side of it, and that is we don't know where Steve Macklin's going to be after May. FightfulSelect.com, best $5 in the business. We did have news on Steve Macklin's contract. It is up this spring, so we don't know where it's going to be, where he's going to be sticking around. We know Moose told us that he's got a 5-year deal, so maybe he'll hold on to that thing for another 4 years.
Damn, Moose said, I'm never letting it go. We're all doing 20-year title runs now.
Hey,
lock it in, baby.
He still got the old school TNA white leather belt, the 2011, bought it on Pakistani eBay. He's got it. He still owns it, he says. And he's like, I'll bust it out once I hold this title for at least a year, because right now it's a brand new title and I got to show it off. Regardless, Nick Nemeth, he is a franchise guy for TNA. He is basically the direct exchange for Trinity, now Naomi, back in WWE. So it makes perfect sense that they're going to put him on a world title track, that the hope is that he brings more eyes to the product and brings more people in. But we don't know how exclusively he's going to work for TNA once he finishes up whatever he's doing right now with New Japan, because that's taken him out of doing anything at No Surrender. On the flip side, Mustafa Ali is going to be with the company at least through Rebellion and possibly beyond. So we don't know. I just think that they're going to put a lot of steam behind Nemeth because they certainly gave him a lot of money to do it.
Oh, yeah. And I think also as well, there's a lot of people when I first started getting into wrestling in 2018 that would always talk about how Nick Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler, never had a chance. He should have been champion. Literally, it should have been me promo. And now you have the opportunity to do it. You've got people like Ali coming in. You've got great wrestlers like Chris Sabin and even Moose in his own merit. These are all people that can put on great shows with all of these people, including Nick Nemeth, who is naturally gifted in the ring. So I could see them like hot-shotting it on him, like you said, in a direct Trinity comparison, and the fans would love it. There is an opportunity, and this is just me, Nick Nemeth versus Ali sounds fantastic. And somehow put Shelley and Sabin, Speedball. There's so much X Division, not X Division, but people who do stuff. Oh, I can't wait. I think there's an opportunity there. And like you said, they paid him a lot of money to take that opportunity. So I think I could see him taking it off of Moose the first time. I don't think it's smart right away, but I could see it.
I want to know who the first wrestler is going to be that approaches Nick Nemeth and says, "It should have been me."
I could immediately say Alan Angels. I feel like that's something a little brother would do, and it would be Alan Angels. Little brother Alan Angels.
I'm out for it. Folks, get your super chats and humper chats in. We're heading down the home stretch. Moose, Edward Edwards, Brian Myers, the system. They take on KUSHIDA, Alex Shelley, and Kevin Knight. It's a good match. It's a 6-man tag match. It's a main event match. They're working hard. Knight and Moose again. They had singles matches before in Impact, and it was so good. And they did it again. And these two men are so solid and so good with each other. I'm excited for Kevin Knight every time I see him work in TNA because I see good things. And this was no different. I think everyone hit their points. I like that the crowd continues to rag on Edward Edwards, as they should.
As they should. He deserves less.
He does. But the match itself is fine. It's Moose called KUSHIDA this week the youngest looking old wrestler he's ever seen. And they also kicked his head off in the match. Very stiff. It was some good stuff. It was a good match. You got who got the win? It was Moose gets the win after a whole bunch of spear evaded offense from Kevin Knight. System was getting involved. It got overpowered. Moose gets the spear on Knight, gets the win, and then we'll get to the post match. What do you think of this match? We got plenty to talk about.
I will say the very first half of this match, after a while, I could only see KUSHIDA get beat up so much. They cut the ring off. They kept him around on that one corner, and they were just beating on that man like he stole from them. They stole from his mama. It was cool. However, to me, the match really picked up once Alex Shelley got that hot tag into Kevin Knight, like you said, who was dodging spears left and right. Shelley, it was the Tanaka punch on Moose for Shelley to get the hot tag. Also, I know I've said this a million times, but I got to give Alicia Edwards her flowers. She is so annoying outside of that ring, but she's doing her. This is Vicky Guerrero levels of annoying, and kudos to you. Kudos to you. And I mean that as a compliment. I mean, like, Vicky Guerrero is a great heel valet. And those levels, not everyone can keep and maintain those levels. And she does it every week. She's effortless. She's on the apron. So when Knight does get hit with that spear, this is after Knight was running around dodging stuff. I think this system does work. I think so. You got all the people together that people are like, brother, I'm sick of these people. And now they're in a situation where they're being omega heels. And I think this is the perfect medium for, especially Eddie Edwards, someone who I personally have been down on quite a bit. I think this is the best that he's looked in a very long time, just being a piece of crap. And Alicia being loud and obnoxious too. I like Kevin Knight. I hope he does more with, I don't know, I'm gonna say League of Legends, Jesus Christ. I hope he does more with TNA. I don't want him to keep eating the pin, but who else is gonna eat the pin, baby? Come on now.
KUSHIDA isn't doing anything right now.
I mean, like, KUSHIDA got beat up in the first half of the match. That was his job.
We gotta talk about this real quick. One of my favorite parts of this match early is while they are beating up on KUSHIDA the entire time, they go to a hot tag attempt, and everyone's expecting it's gonna be the hot tag and it's gonna be huge. And the way it was shot was really good, but also the way it played out was really good. Moose and KUSHIDA are the legal men. KUSHIDA finally escapes Moose, goes for the hot tag. Myers and Edwards are on the outside, and they simultaneously yank Shelley and Knight off the apron. And I loved it. It just really, really worked for me. There's some little stuff in there that it looked good visually, and it looked good in the match. And I agree with you with what you're saying about Alicia Edwards. Once she found this obnoxious heel character, the I don't understand you while she's doing an obnoxious Boston accent, you want that. And
this
it's
is
so
the chef's kiss. This is like, you want your valets or your managers to be Paul Heyman, Stokely Hathaway, Zelina Vega, or Alicia Edwards. Vicky Guerrero, if you're real lucky. Paul Heyman, if you're real lucky. But these are the people she's always ready to take a bump. She lost her shoes 2 seconds into the match. So I know she was ready for the shenanigans. She's so good. This not the will they, won't they. When she's like, I don't know if I want to. This just obnoxious Boston woman. I know that girl. That's the girl who's like, is she messing with you outside the club? And she's outside the club fighting this poor woman, okay?
I'm not going to tell stories of my music days, but I've seen those people as well.
I know, as a New Yorker, we give Boss a lot of crap, but there's a lot of the same people here. So I know that. I know that girl.
I'll tell you a real quick one. We're doing a show. We're in the city of Whitby, Ontario. For those who know Whitby, it's outside of Toronto. And then we're the band. We're outside just having a break because it's hot out there and it's nicer outside. It's cooler outside. So we're going to cool down for a bit. All of a sudden, security busts out with a guy that they're trying to throw out of the bar. Apparently, he was fighting. As they're throwing him out of the bar, the person who we all assume is his partner, his girlfriend, comes running out saying, "You said you wouldn't do this. You said you wouldn't do this again." And apparently, this guy just fights at bars. And she almost got on the back of a security guard and tried to fight him. But he was like, don't do that. That's not a good idea. And that's a ride or die. And that's Alicia and Edwards. You said you wouldn't do this. You said you wouldn't do this again.
Every time we go out, you have 2 Jägermeisters, and this is what you do. I'm sick of it.
And that is the Edwards relationship on TNA Wrestling.
And then they go beat up someone in the ring, or they kill PCO, and it's like, I love you too, baby.
Hey, shout out to the security of the Tap and Tankard in Whitby. Post-match, they brawl because No Surrender is tomorrow. Shelley locks in the Border City stretch on Moose in the middle of the ring until Myers and Edwards, I should say, drag Moose out of the ring. Shelley has his hands on the world title, so we know what that means for tomorrow, don't we?
He's losing. Oh, sorry.
Nope.
I spoiled it. I'm sorry.
Spoilers.
No spoilerina. No
Can't do that.
spoilerina.
Can't do that. Let's run down this card for No Surrender. Once again, we will be live tomorrow night after No Surrender. It'll be myself and SP3 because Cresta Star's too good to show up to work tomorrow.
That's not what happened. I have a muggle job. I don't get to be a wizard. Next month, it'll be wizard time.
That's true. You'll be back for Sacrifice. I don't know where I'll be. I don't think I'm going to Windsor, but yeah, some weird things have happened.
You can go interview Scott Steiner.
Nope. Speedball Mountain takes on the Rascals. This is a good match. Who's going to win it?
I want to say Speedball Mountain because, no offense, Trent Seven was slapping the nipples off of Steve Macklin tonight. And Trey Miguel can take a hit, so can Zachary Wentz, but to a point. Bully Ray is like, wrap it up. I'm hungry.
If Speedball Mountain wins, and I do expect them to, then GYV are capturing those tag titles.
Oh, that's my prediction.
And that's your first tag team title contest, which I'm a fan of, by the way. GYV versus Speedball Mountain, we could do that. Edwards and Myers take on KUSHIDA and Kevin Knight. I want to see KUSHIDA and Kevin Knight get the win on this too.
I feel that way as well. I feel like they get the win because Moose later that night is going to beat Shelley.
Yeah. And again, you want to build up a bunch of babyface tag teams if GYV is about to capture those tag titles.
Mm-hmm.
Over the Knockouts side of things, Knockouts tag team titles are on the line. Decay defend against MK Ultra. This is their contractual rematch. Do MK Ultra walk out with those tag titles again?
I honestly don't see it. And I kind of feel like they might be breaking up MK Ultra soon.
Really?
I don't know. It could be just me. Maybe I'm reading too much into the situation. With the promo tonight with Danny Luna saying Killer Kelly is a bottom denominator. And they had also hinted at this maybe I think a week or two ago where Masha was really letting Killer Kelly have it. Like, girl, what are you doing? And Kelly took the pin. I hope I'm wrong. I like them together. However, Masha Slamovich is a single star and she needs to be in your main event scene. And so is Killer Kelly. I will give Killer Kelly her flowers as well. She deserves to be in the main event scene, but not while Masha and Grace are there because then she's not winning. I don't like that. So
I don't know where Decay sits in TNA because they just came back. They won the tag titles. They've done a promo and a save, but MK Ultra have been all over the shows since Vegas. Mm-hmm. And that's why, and again, they're the hottest act in the Knockouts. For a multitude of reasons, they're very popular. I don't know if you can get rid of that so quickly.
Yeah, I don't even know why you took the titles off of them. I mean, to that point.
That was kind of a shock thing. I think they were just trying to build a moment, and Decay being Decay, escaped the Undead Realm, and it was kind of like a paying homage to TNA before they went to Impact and so on and so forth. So like it was a quick little thing. That's why I wouldn't be surprised to see MK Ultra win, and then we do Luna and Threat once again.
I don't hate that. I think no matter who wins, I'm the winner in this match.
We're all going to win when PCO and Khan collide. These two are going to beat the living tar out of each other. I don't even care who wins. Probably Khan. Actually,
they did sign PCO first and made a big deal about it.
They did, and I keep bringing that up. But Khan is he's on the ascent. Feels like PCO is just like, I can lose this one, I guess.
I mean, the face I have is just like, ugh. It's the same face like with Bully Ray matches. This match probably gonna be phenomenal. But in the meantime, until I get, I want to see that. I don't know. I honestly don't care who wins. It's probably gonna be Khan, like you said, but they're gonna beat the hell out of each other. And this is a big, meaty men slapping meat match. So right, I'm not into it right now. But tomorrow, when I eventually watch it, I'm gonna be like,
I'm gonna see you at home, be like, big smile on your face
with my knife and fork watching this match.
Oh my goodness. There's a world title shot on the line, Eric Young and Frankie Kazarian. You and I kind of talked about it. We agreed that while the winner gets the world title match at Sacrifice, it's almost going to choreograph the winner of the world title match, Eric Young, Frankie Kazarian. Who do you think wins?
I have to agree with you. You made some good points earlier. I think it's Kazarian. I would love for Eric Young to win, but I think that there is a way to have it where if Kazarian wins, Eric Young screws him out of it.
I wouldn't be surprised if Eric Young wins the more I think about it. Young versus Moose at Sacrifice is fine. Eric Young is from that area almost. So you do have a hot baby face going in to take on Moose. Obviously, if Frankie Kazarian wins, then it feels like they're going to do a title shot, title match victory. You know, Alex Shelley's going to win. But I think more I think about it, Eric Young is probably going to come out the winner in this. And then Kazarian, him and Nick Nemeth might be a thing down the line. That's something I talked about. But who knows what they'll do. Either way, I think Eric Young's getting it.
Okay. We'll see tomorrow.
Josh Alexander's going to beat Simon Gotch.
Yeah. I mean, thanks for playing, Simon. I hope you stick around.
I do too. And honestly, I hope that post-match Matt Raywalt gets involved and we do a thing with the Vaudevillains joining.
I wouldn't hate them as a tag team in TNA. I wouldn't hold you. I'm not going to hold you. I wouldn't hate them.
Do it up until Rebellion and let them kind of build their own stock because they'll be a heel tag team. You'll have potential heel tag team champions. So like they can't meet, but maybe there's room in the future for them.
And also too, everybody else besides oh my God, what is his name from BTI? Because Gia's still working, Iceman working. What's his name?
You're talking about Josh Matthews?
Yes, Josh Matthews could do commentary for a little while Ray
No,
Walt.
No, Jesus Christ, no, do not put that evil on us. No,
I feel like I have fond memories of him doing commentary with Don Callis and Don Callis telling him that Madison Rayne is a 76-time Intercontinental Champion. And he said, "Where did you get your sources from?" And he said, "Don't question me."
There were very few moments. Few being the operative word. No, do not let Josh Matthews be the senior producer that he is. He's doing fine. Do not put me. Do not do this. You know what? TNA,
you know what you sound
like. If you are watching, don't think about it. Don't do it. If you do it to troll me, I will not. No, don't do it.
This sounds like what I suggested. What about heel Michael Cole? Everyone just listen to me. You aren't even watching wrestling yet. Don't even speak that evil upon us. No, thank you.
That's right. Those who have not experienced this do not get to talk about it. That is, I will gatekeep the shit out of that moment. Thank you.
Sorry, Josh Matthews. You caught a straight for no reason. I'm sorry, Josh Matthews.
Made this man very upset at 11:15 in Eastern time. I got shows to do, Cresta, tomorrow morning.
Your blood pressure, Joel. Calm down, your blood pressure.
Try not to take my anger out on Fuego del Sol tomorrow morning. By the way, Fuego's going to be on In the Weeds. Best of 3 series finale, ABC, GYV. I want to see GYV get the win here. I think it's time. ABC are great. Let's divide them up and do a singles run for both men, shall we? What do you think, tag titles?
I like ABC together. I think they have a lot of great chemistry. And before this, personally, I think that Ace Austin and Chris Bay, to an extent, begrudgingly was kind of floundering, and they found their footing with each other. I don't want them to break up. However, I don't know what they'll be without their titles, if that makes sense. I think that it built up to them winning the titles, and GYV here is a great shot. My heart says ABC because I'm a fan, but sometimes it's time to clean it up, you know.
Someone asking, what about D'Lo Brown on commentary? I'll take D'Lo.
I never heard him on commentary. I love Don Callis. I love people who lie on commentary. So he does it for me. So
well, it won't be Don coming back, tell you that much. For the X Division Championship, Chris Sabin takes on the debuting Mustafa Ali. I have Ali winning.
Same. And I think with all the pomp and circumstance, you don't have him lose.
Oh, I just thought of something. I think Sabin throws in the towel for Shelley.
I mean, you could, but I don't think it'll affect Motor City Machine Guns. Like, I would expect whoever throws in the towel for whoever, that leads to a singles program between those two, especially in the system. Not so much on the good guy side. Not so much on Intergalactic Time Jacket. Machine Guns, I'm sorry.
By the way, Tom Hannafin wouldn't go solo. They just bring in Gia Miller. She's been doing.
She's so funny.
Yeah, she's been doing what's now TNA Explosion. So they would just bring her in, and she'd do great. So I wouldn't hate that if they do a Vaudevillains reunion. No, I say Sabin throwing in the towel because he's the one who is closest to Alex Shelley, who understands his pain the most. This isn't a we're gonna break up and fight over this. This is a you shouldn't have done it, but you did it, and now we're gonna live with the consequences of it. Could it become a feud? Sure, why not? But I don't think it's a feud. I think it's just no one's expecting Chris Sabin to get involved, but he is part of this group on Alex Shelley's side. So I
can see that.
Yeah, so I think Ali is going to win that X Division Championship, and it's going to be good. I think the match is going to be one of the best of the night. So there you go. Again, there are sleeper matches on this card that are going to potentially have a lot of people talking. Knockouts World Titles, one of them, Jordynne Grace, conspicuously absent tonight, taking on Giselle Shaw. There was like one women's match tonight. That's it. This was not a knockouts heavy match tonight.
Yeah. It was only They
did the block of like knockout segments, right? They did the Giselle Shaw, Gail Kim, and then they did the Danny Luna and Jody Thread, and then they did the match with Ash by Elegance. I guess they really wanted to put the spotlight on Ash by Elegance. That's fine.
I can forgive TNA because they normally don't do that. You know what I mean?
It's rare when they do. They always try to spotlight the women in some capacity. Also, this was trying to get heat on Giselle Shaw on her way to her knockouts title match against Jordynne Grace. Is this it for Giselle Shaw? Is this the beginning of it for her?
I don't know, man. I think it'd be cute, but Jordynne Grace, no matter who it is, that's a tough order. That is a tough order. And there were two women at the top of the mountain, Jordynne Grace and Deonna Purrazzo. And not for nothing, the only person to topple Grace was Purrazzo and vice versa. So that's tough. Because even Masha Slamovich, and that was one of the tough people too. Oh no, Bully Ray. Get out of here. Bye-bye. Sorry.
Go play the piano.
Yeah, Bully Ray. Go do something productive.
Go walk on the chimney stack in the back. Anyway, I can see this is one of those matches where I see both sides as a possibility. Jordynne Grace just won that TNA title. Giselle Shaw is overdue for the Knockouts World Championship.
That's almost like maybe the way Gail Kim was talking to her, someone from the Shaw Entourage or even Gail Kim could screw her over, where it doesn't hurt her so much, where it's like, well, you screwed over all of these people. Why do you think you deserve to be Knockouts Women's Champion? Especially with Gail Kim. I put my title, my name, we did everything to make this work, and then you're going to go be a piece of crap and cheat to win? Not on my watch.
This is one where I don't have an answer. I would like to see Giselle Shaw win. That's what I would like to see.
Yeah.
And in the main event, TNA World Championship, no surrender rules. Throw in the towel for the person you think is a big, stinky-ass loser, Alex Shelley. Goes up against Moose. I think Sabin throws in the towel on Shelley, and everyone's a little confused, but understanding.
I don't know, man. I want to be more excited for this match. This match is probably going to be great. But like you said, with the rules, it's kind of like
there's a lot at play, and sometimes it's a little too much.
I really wish I could turn my camera down so you can see the way this cat is menacing me. Like, yo, it's 11 o'clock. Where's my food? What's the fancy feast?
Well, you know what? Fancy feast time is now. We've covered all the matches for No Surrender, and that's tomorrow night. We will have a post show. Myself and SP3 will be live, and then Cresta and I are back every single Thursday talking about TNA Impact. And of course, the ROH post show comes before that with Kate and Reg. They do their thing. Cresta, what's going on? Tell them what's happening.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're back this Saturday. I think the All-Star game is done finally. I don't know anything about sports balls.
No, it's still on. It's still going right now.
Is it?
Yeah, literally right now. It's been like a 48-hour they're just playing ball the whole time. Collision is back this week. It's
okay, thank you. Because I was like, don't make me not show up for Saturday. That's gonna be awkward for everyone.
No.
I will be on Grab City this Saturday morning. Hey, happy Black History Month. I'm gonna go honky tonk with the boys over there. Saturday evening, I will be doing double duty with Ricochet. No, Rick won't be here this Saturday. Just be me and Iridian, 2 women power trip. Double the Cresta, double the power. Wednesday next week, I will be live on Twitch and TikTok. Cresta Star. My brain is turning off. Cresta Star. We're gonna watch AEW live, and I don't have anything else. Linktree and bio on Cresta D Star on X somewhere here with my green pen that is now invisible. You guys are amazing. Joel Pearl, where can they find you?
I am not hard to find. I am at Joel Pearl, JoelPearl. I'm in the weeds every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday over on Fightful Overbooked, dropping content daily. And of course, we're doing this thing, the TNA Impact Post Show, every Thursday night. We'll do the PLEs, we'll do the pay-per-views, we'll do everything with y'all, okay? Come and hang out with us sometime. Tell your friends. TNA, I mean, it's back, but like we don't know for sure how back it is, but it's back and we're talking about it. So keep coming back. How's that, okay? Till then, ladies and gentlemen, friends beyond the binary, we'll see you in the next one. Cheers. We'll see you after No Surrender on Friday nights.